जी, मैंने तो निर्णय ले लिया है। आम आदमी पार्टी मैंने छोड़ दी है। मैंने भाजपा ज्वाइन कर ली है और जो भी प्रक्रिया है उसके थ्रू ही ज्वाइन करी है। तो पहली बात तो ये हाइपोथेटिकल क्वेश्चन है। इन्हें तो ये रोज़ का इनका काम है कि कन्फ्यूजन फैलाओ, झूठ फैलाओ। ये तो आप भी इतने सालों से काम कर रहे हैं, आप भी जानते हैं। लेकिन अगर फिर भी ऐसा कोई मोमेंट भी आता है कि हाँ भाई, अगर कि सीट चली जाएगी तो सीट छोड़ देंगे। लेकिन अब भाजपा के कार्यकर्ता हैं, भाजपा के कार्यकर्ता बन के काम करेंगे।
अगर बाकियों की बात की जाए जिसमें ये कहा गया, जैसे डिप्टी राज्यसभा सीट उन्होंने राघव चड्ढा से हटा के दूसरों को दी और उन्होंने भी, अशोक मलिक साहब ने भी जो है वो छोड़ दिया, ईडी की रेड का उन्होंने हवाला दिया। तो इस तरह से चीज़ें बातें कर रहे हैं कि इस वजह से ये बाकी जितने भी जो लोग हैं वो सब एकजुट होकर पार्टी से हट रहे हैं। क्या कहेंगे आप?
देखिए, मैं इसको ऐसे ही देखती हूँ क्योंकि मैं ये इनकी इस तरीके की श्रृंखला काफ़ी सालों से ऑब्जर्व कर रही हूँ। आप प्रशांत भूषण जी को देख लें, आप शांति भूषण जी को देख लें, कुमार विश्वास जी को देख लें, और ऐसे अनगिनत हज़ारों लाखों वॉलंटियर्स हैं जो अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के चलते हुए पार्टी छोड़ के गए हैं। तो मैं तो यही मानती हूँ कि कोई भी अच्छा इंसान अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के साथ लंबे समय तक काम नहीं कर सकता। मैंने अपनी पूरी कोशिश करी, क्योंकि मैं 2006 से थी, तो मैंने अपनी पूरी कोशिश करी कि जितना इस चीज़ को खींचा जा सके, जितना सुधारा जा सके, जितना वहीं रहकर, क्योंकि अपना घर कोई छोड़ के क्यों जाना चाहेगा, जितना वहीं रहकर काम करा जा सके, मैंने करी कोशिश। लेकिन मैं देख रही हूँ कि मैं कुछ यहाँ रहकर कोई काम ही नहीं कर पा रही, और एक तरफ देश इतना आगे बढ़ रहा है और इतना अच्छा काम हो रहा है, तो मैं बिल्कुल डेफिनेटली मैंने ये डिसीजन लिया है कि मैं प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी जी की लीडरशिप में काम करूँगी। राज्यसभा हो ना हो, दीज आर इमटेरियल थिंग्स। नाउ मैं बीजेपी की कार्यकर्ता हूँ और बीजेपी के कार्यकर्ता के रूप में ही काम करूँगी।
All right, viewers, we have another big breaking news coming in. Break according to AAP sources. Aam Aadmi Party is likely to file a disqualification petition in the Rajya Sabha Secretariat by this evening. So today will be an important day for Aam Aadmi Party, and the petition will be filed against MPs who left the party, those who have joined the Bharatiya Janata Party, including Swati Maliwal. According to Aam Aadmi Party, Raghav and other MPs cannot merge the party, and therefore their membership should be cancelled. Now, AAP has taken the legal advice and, if required, will also approach the court. Sources said. All right, we have our correspondent Saurav for more details on the story. Now things are going legal, Saurav. What has the Aam Aadmi Party planned? They're trying for the disqualification of the Aam Aadmi Party MPs who have left the party. More details, Saurav, please.
Yes, the top sources in the Aam Aadmi Party have claimed that they will file the disqualification petition in the Rajya Sabha by this evening, and they have briefly taken the advice from from their legal team as well as the Rajya Sabha members also. They have claimed that while remaining in the Aam Aadmi Party and holding a post of the Rajya Sabha through the Aam Aadmi Party, these MPs, including the Raghav Chadha and others, cannot merge with the BJP, and they will go to the courts if need be there. And they have also claimed that all these memberships will be cancelled by the Aam Aadmi Party once they are done filing the disqualification petition in the Rajya Sabha against all these Rajya Sabha members who are merging with the BJP. And we have also fetching the reports of that the Raghav Chadha is currently in a meeting with the Rajya Sabha chairman, completing all the procedure of merging with the Bharatiya Janata Party. Back to you.
All right, Saurav, thanks for the details in the story. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll continue to cover this story with in-depth analysis and what's unfolding minute-to-minute details. But now it's time to slip into a short commercial break. But don't go anywhere, because Swati Maliwal has slammed Aam Aadmi Party and explained the clear reason why she is joining Bharatiya Janata Party. And now Swati Maliwal hails Prime Minister Narendra Modi, calls him a global leader. Coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील टीएमटी से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील टीएमटी बार एकदम सॉलिड।
प्यास बुझाए, ठंडक लाए, सबको भाए जीरा से MDH का जलजीरा जीरा से
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
The Indian Air Force is giving its old MiG-29 fighter jets a powerful new weapon from Britain that turns them into modern fighters ready for today's battles. MiG-29s first came to India in the 1980s, have flown many missions along the tough borders with China and Pakistan. Now they are getting equipped with British ASRAAM missiles that make them as strong as NATO planes in close fights. The Ministry of Defense sent out a request for proposals to fit the Advanced Short-Range Air-to-Air Missile on the MiG-29 UPG version. This British missile from the company MBDA replaces the old Russian R-73 that pilots used for years. The R-73 could only reach targets 10 to 15 kilometers away, which forced pilots to fly too close to the enemy and take big risks. The ASRAAM changes all that. It can hit targets more than 25 kilometers away, almost double the old range. It flies at Mach 3 speed and uses a smart infrared seeker that ignores enemy flares and jamming better than before. The Indian Air Force flies more than 55 of these MiG-29 UPG jets in frontline squadrons. These planes guard the northern and western borders day and night. Earlier upgrades added new radars, engines, and digital cockpits, but the short-range missiles stayed old. Now the ASRAAM brings fire-and-forget technology. Once the pilot locks on and fires, the missile finds the target on its own, even if the jet turns away to dodge enemy fire. It also works with helmet-mounted displays, so the pilot can just look at the enemy plane through the visor and the missile follows the eyes. This high off-bore sight ability lets the jet attack from strange angles without turning the whole plane first. This upgrade matters a lot because the region stays tense. Pakistan flies JF-17 jets with modern PL-10 missiles that reach farther and lock on quicker. China uses even better systems on its J-20 stealth fighters and other planes. In a real dogfight, the old MiG-29 with R-73 could lose the first shot. With ASRAAM, the Indian...
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Good afternoon, viewers. You're watching Republic TV with me, Hina Sharma. Now, this weekend on the Our Education College Ranking Show, discover the top colleges shaping careers in pharmacy, law, architecture, BBA and hotel management. The rankings are in, but do they tell the full story? Don't miss episode number 2. And now, let's begin with the headlines. Raghav Chadha aiming to dislodge Aam Aadmi Party government in Punjab. Sources say 43 of 92 AAP MLAs backing Raghav Chadha.
और उसी के साथ में मैंने आपको दिखाया था कि उसका एक्सटेंशन भी बन रहा था जिसमें 70 करोड़ रुपए का बजट पास किया गया था.
Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Parvesh Verma takes a direct shot at Kejriwal, says Sheesh Mahal 2.0 exposed, calls Kejriwal Delhi's Rahman Daket. Aam Aadmi Party says BJP showing fake pictures. Aam Aadmi Party challenges BJP to show Rekha Gupta's house.
नंबर 1, गुजरात में जिस तरह से आम आदमी पार्टी के पीछे भारतीय जनता पार्टी पड़ी हुई है और वहां हमारे सोशल मीडिया के पेज को इन्होंने सस्पेंड कराया है, और दूसरा जो 7 लोगों के टूटकर बीजेपी में शामिल होने का मामला है, जिसमें आज उपराष्ट्रपति महोदय को और जो हमारे चेयरमैन है राज्यसभा को आज पत्र दूंगा, उनको डिस्क्वालीफाई करने के लिए, उनकी सदस्यता को रद्द करने के लिए। तो ये दो विषय है जिस पे आज आपसे बात करनी है। गुजरात में आम आदमी पार्टी का विस्तार लगातार हो रहा है। गुजरात में जनता के मुद्दों पर आम आदमी पार्टी जमीन पे संघर्ष कर रही है। 5 हमारे विधायक हैं वहां, 14% विधानसभा में हमको वोट मिला था और हमारे कई विधायकों को पकड़ पकड़ के जेल में डाला बीजेपी ने। चैतर बसावा को जेल में डाला, 2 बार जेल में डाला, जो आदिवासी समाज के बड़े नेता है। यहां तक कि उनकी पत्नी को जेल में डाला। ईसुदान गढ़वी जो हमारे प्रदेश अध्यक्ष हैं उनको जेल में डाला। गोपाल इटालिया हमारे विधायक हैं उनको जेल में डाला। प्रवीण राम जी हमारे नेता हैं उनको जेल में डाला। ऐसे तमाम लोगों को पकड़ पकड़ के पिछले कुछ महीनों में भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने जेल में डाला, उनको प्रताड़ित किया, उनको परेशान किया, उनके ऊपर तमाम सख्ती की। फिर इन्होंने अभी जो वहां पर नगर पालिका का चुनाव हो रहा है, तालुका और जिला पंचायत का चुनाव हो रहा है, नगर निगम का चुनाव हो रहा है, इसमें बहुत सारे कैंडिडेट्स को फर्जी मुकदमे लगा के, धमका के, डरा के उनके ऊपर उनको कैंडिडेट्स ना बने, फॉर्म ना भर पाए, पार्टी की तरफ से ना खड़े हो, ये काम किया। फिर हमारे कैंडिडेट के ऊपर फायरिंग करवाई। अभी इसी नगर पालिका के चुनाव में फायरिंग करवाई गुजरात में। और आज जब मैं आपसे बातचीत कर रहा हूं तो हमारा गुजरात का फेसबुक का पेज भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने सस्पेंड करा दिया, इंस्टाग्राम का पेज भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने सस्पेंड करा दिया और 3 अलग अलग लोगों के अकाउंट सस्पेंड करवा दिए जो सोशल मीडिया पे पोस्ट करते थे। अब इसकी वजह क्या है? बीजेपी अपने गुनाह को नहीं ठीक कर रही, अपने काम करने के तौर तरीके को नहीं ठीक कर रही। स्कूल अस्पताल कैसे बनेंगे, गुजरात का विकास कैसे होगा, इसको नहीं सही किया जा रहा। तो जनता आम आदमी पार्टी की तरफ झुक रही है, आम आदमी पार्टी से जुड़ रही है, आम आदमी पार्टी का विस्तार हो रहा है और इसमें 8 करोड़ लोगों ने 26 दिन में सोशल मीडिया पर जाकर आम आदमी पार्टी की पोस्ट देखी। यह कोई मामूली बात नहीं है। 8 करोड़ लोगों ने गुजरात के 26 दिन के अंदर जाके इंस्टाग्राम और फेसबुक पर आम आदमी पार्टी की पोस्ट देखी है, जिसमें कुछ उनके जन विरोधी काम थे, उससे संबंधित पोस्ट भी थी, कुछ हमारे नेताओं के भाषण थे, उनके संघर्ष थे, उनकी लड़ाइयां थी। लोग जा रहे हैं, उसको देख रहे हैं। तो इनको लगा कि जो व्यक्ति गुजरात का घर पे बैठा हुआ है, जो सड़क पर निकल के नारेबाजी नहीं कर सकता बीजेपी के खिलाफ, वो आज आम आदमी पार्टी के पक्ष में खड़ा हो रहा है, वो आज आम आदमी पार्टी को अपना समर्थन दे रहा है, वो आम आदमी पार्टी के पोस्ट को लाइक कर रहा है, देख रहा है। तो आम आदमी पार्टी की बात और विचारधारा, आम आदमी पार्टी के काम लोगों तक ना पहुंचने पाए, इसलिए हमारा इंस्टाग्राम और फेसबुक का पेज सस्पेंड किया गया। मैं गुजरात के भाइयों से कहना चाहता हूं, अपने व्हाट्सएप के माध्यम से, अपने दूसरे माध्यमों से आम आदमी पार्टी के जो वीडियोस हैं, जो उनके पोस्ट हैं, उसको ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों तक पहुंचाइए और जिस तरह से आप हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं उसका और मजबूती से विस्तार कीजिए। और मैं बीजेपी वालों से कहना चाहता हूं, तुम्हारे ऐसे घिनौने खेल का कोई असर नहीं होगा। इस बार गुजरात की जनता 30 वर्षों के कुशासन का सूपड़ा साफ करेगी, ये मैं कहना चाहता हूं। और नगर निगम, नगर पालिका और पंचायत तालुका के चुनाव में भी हमारा अच्छा प्रदर्शन होगा, ये हमें पूरा विश्वास है। नंबर 1 और नंबर 2, कल आपने देखा एक गैर संवैधानिक, गैर कानूनी और नियमों के विपरीत जाकर 7 लोगों ने बीजेपी में शामिल होने का ऐलान कर दिया। ये कानूनी रूप से पूरी तरह से गलत है और जो एंटी डिफेक्शन लॉ है, जो साफ तौर पे कहता है किसी भी प्रकार का स्प्लिट, ब्रेक अवे फैक्शन, किसी भी प्रकार की टूट असेंबली और राज्यसभा लोकसभा में नहीं हो सकती, उसको कोई वैधानिक मान्यता नहीं है। और ये शिवसेना के केस में भी साफ तौर पे सामने आ चुका है। ये 10वीं अनुसूची में 10th शेड्यूल में साफ तौर पे लिखा हुआ है, किसी भी प्रकार की टूट, वो चाहे भले ही 2/3 संख्या की हो, 7 की जगह 8 हो, उसको कोई वैधानिक मान्यता नहीं है। किसी भी प्रकार की वैधानिक मान्यता नहीं है। तो जो आम आदमी पार्टी के 7 राज्यसभा के सांसद टूटे हैं, ये गैर कानूनी है, गलत है, गैर संवैधानिक है और संसदीय नियमों के विपरीत है। इसलिए मैं आज चेयरमैन राज्यसभा को, उपराष्ट्रपति महोदय को इन सारे नियमों का हवाला देते हुए पत्र दूंगा कि इन 7 सदस्यों की, इन 7 राज्यसभा के सांसदों की सदस्यता पूरी तरीके से समाप्त की जाए, जिसमें से तो 3 लोग साफ तौर पे कल बीजेपी के दफ्तर में भी गए थे, राघव चड्ढा, संदीप पाठक और अशोक मित्तल, वो साफ तौर पे बीजेपी के दफ्तर में गए थे, जिनकी विजुअल और वीडियो सारी कुछ आपके पास है, फोटो वगैरह। और बाकी जो 4 लोगों को लेके दावा किया जा रहा है, उन सब के खिलाफ उनकी सदस्यता को समाप्त करने के लिए आज मैं राज्यसभा के चेयरमैन साहब को, उपराष्ट्रपति महोदय को पत्र दूंगा। आपके कोई प्रश्न हो आप पूछ सकते हैं। प्रवेश वर्मा के आरोपों पर क्या कहेंगे? उन्होंने आरोप लगाए। प्रवेश वर्मा के द्वारा जारी की गई सारी फोटो पूरी तरीके से फर्जी है, झूठी है, बेबुनियाद है और इसलिए मैं प्रवेश वर्मा और जो भी टीवी चैनल ऐसी झूठी तस्वीर को अपने चैनल पर प्रचारित करता है, प्रसारित करता है और केजरीवाल जी को बदनाम करने की कोशिश करता है, उनके खिलाफ मानहानि का केस किया जाएगा। ये बिल्कुल स्पष्ट करना चाहता हूं। दूसरी बात, साफ तौर पे मैं कहना चाहता हूं, दूध का दूध, पानी का पानी हो जाएगा। एलजी साहब का घर जनता के लिए खोलिए। रेखा गुप्ता जी का जो मुख्यमंत्री हैं, उनका घर जनता के लिए खोलिए। प्रवेश वर्मा जी जो मंत्री हैं दिल्ली सरकार के, उनका घर जनता के लिए खोलिए और अरविंद केजरीवाल जी का भी घर जनता के लिए खोलिए। जनता खुद से जाए और देखे, फैसला करे किसका घर कितना आलीशान बना हुआ है। इस प्रकार से झूठी तस्वीरें जारी करके, झूठा प्रचार करके आप अभी भी वही घिसे पिटे तरीके अपना रहे हैं। ये तो भारतीय झूठा पार्टी है। ये इसका तो नाम ही है भारतीय झूठा पार्टी। झूठ फैलाने के लिए हिटलर के प्रचार सचिव गोयबल्स के सिद्धांत का ये लोग पालन करते हैं और इसी तरीके से ये झूठ फैलाने का काम करते हैं। मैं फिर दोहराना चाहता हूं, मैं चुनौती देता हूं दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री को, एलजी साहब को और प्रवेश वर्मा जी को, तीनों घर अपना खुलवाइए। केजरीवाल साहब का घर खुलेगा, जनता जाएगी, देखेगी और फैसला खुद से कर लेंगे।
संजय जी, क्या है कि पंजाब में आपके बड़े स्तर पर जो विधायक हैं वो राघव चड्ढा के संपर्क में हैं, वहां पर भी टूट की खबरें आ रही हैं।
देखिए, फिर मैं आपसे कह रहा हूं, इस प्रकार के झूठे बेबुनियाद बिना सिर पैर की खबरों का कोई मतलब नहीं है। सारे के सारे विधायक, मंत्री, हमारे जो लोकसभा के 3 सांसद हैं, वो पूरी मजबूती के साथ आम आदमी पार्टी के साथ खड़े हैं, केजरीवाल जी और भगवंत मान जी के साथ हैं। इस प्रकार की किसी भी अफवाह पर कोई ध्यान नहीं देना चाहिए। और जैसा मैंने आपको स्पष्ट कर दिया, एक भी एमएलए, एमपी टूट के जा ही नहीं सकता। ये कानून के खिलाफ है। ये एंटी डिफेक्शन लॉ में साफ तौर पे लिखा हुआ है। कोई ऐसे टूट के जा ही नहीं सकता।
सर ये बताएं कि सवाल इस पे उठ रहा है कि आम आदमी पार्टी इतना क्लोज मिट, उसमें से 7 बड़े सांसद आपके छोड़ के चले जाते हैं, नाराजगी थी, क्या आप लोगों ने कभी कोई बातचीत करने की कोशिश नहीं की? आप ये जरूर कह रहे हैं कि बीजेपी ने अप्रोच किया, लेकिन आपकी तरफ से क्या कोई प्रयास हुआ था कि ऐसे लोगों को रोका जाए? और ये कब पता चला आप लोगों को ये नाराज हैं?
देखिए, ऐसा है कि जिन लोगों को पार्टी ने इतना कुछ दिया, उनसे तो पार्टी यही अपेक्षा करेगी कि वो पंजाब की जनता के हित में काम करेंगे, पंजाब के लोगों के लिए काम करेंगे, पार्टी के विस्तार के लिए काम करेंगे। पंजाब में आम आदमी पार्टी की भगवंत मान जी की सरकार क्या क्या काम नहीं कर रही है? आप बताइए, 10 लाख रुपए तक का मेडिकल का खर्चा पूरी तरह से सरकार उठाएगी, ये फैसला हमने किया। दलित समाज, आदिवासी समाज से आने वाली माताओं बहनों को 1,500 रुपए महीने दिया जाएगा। सारी माताओं बहनों को 1,000 रुपए जो जनरल कास्ट की हैं उनको अलग से हर महीने आर्थिक सम्मान राशि दी जाएगी। इसके अलावा हमने वहां मोहल्ला क्लिनिक का मॉडल दिया, वहां पर बेहतरीन शिक्षा का मॉडल दिया, स्कूल ऑफ एमिनेंस बनाए, सरकारी नौकरियां लोगों को दी। वहां 30-30 साल से जिन नहरों में पानी नहीं जा रहा था वहां पे पानी पहुंचाने का काम किया, बिजली फ्री किया। और जब से बेअदबी के खिलाफ कानून आया, इससे आम आदमी पार्टी और अरविंद केजरीवाल जी और भगवंत मान जी का ग्राफ बहुत तेजी के साथ बढ़ा। हर आदमी ने भगवंत मान जी की तारीफ की कि ये बेअदबी के खिलाफ जो कानून लेके आए हैं, इसका एक सकारात्मक संदेश पूरे पंजाब के अंदर गया है और उससे बीजेपी घबराई, परेशान हुई। तो हमारे पंजाब के अच्छे कामों को बाधित करने के लिए ये कार्रवाई की गई। वरना आप बताइए, अशोक मित्तल पे तो 4 दिन पहले छापा मारा था इन्हीं लोगों ने, क्या क्या नहीं कह रहे थे, चोर है, बेईमान है, फलाना है, ढिमका है, यही लोग बोल रहे थे। और अचानक 4 दिन बाद वो अच्छे हो गए। तो ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी की वॉशिंग मशीन है। वहां जो जाता है वो चाहे जितनी भी गलती किए रहे, धुल के साफ हो जाता है। ये किया है।
पार्टी को सर कब पता चला कि इतने सांसद छोड़ के जा सकते हैं? क्या ये अंदाजा था आप लोगों को?
देखिए, जिस दिन अशोक मित्तल के घर पे ईडी का छापा पड़ा था और इतने बड़े पैमाने पर पड़ा था, उस दिन से ही आशंका थी। उसके पहले की तैयारी रही होगी तो मैं नहीं कह सकता, लेकिन उसके बाद से चीजें बहुत साफ तौर पे दिखाई दे रही थी।
And so viewers, Aam Aadmi Party MP Sanjay Singh talking about the 10th schedule of the Constitution, saying that it is unconstitutional for Aam Aadmi Party MPs to carry out this exodus as there cannot be a split in the Rajya Sabha. Aam Aadmi Party in fact challenging Raghav Chaddha's Rajya Sabha exit from Aam Aadmi Party, and has also said that they will write to the Rajya Sabha chairman to disqualify these Member of Parliament from Rajya Sabha. A big charge by Sanjay Singh, saying that the party will file disqualification petition in Rajya Sabha to ensure that this split is not taken into consideration and these party members are not able to merge with the Bharatiya Janata Party in Rajya Sabha. So a press conference, in fact, back-to-back statements coming in. Earlier we also heard from Swati Maliwal from Aam Aadmi Party saying that he has left the party and is now all set to join BJP. Remember viewers, these leaders are saying that they have joined hands with BJP, but an official merger is still to take place, and this press conference by Sanjay Singh in fact raising questions whether this split will be constitutional or not. I have my colleague Saurabh to get us more details on this. Saurabh, so the next course of action will definitely be the letter to the Rajya Sabha chairman and asking for the disqualification for these Aam Aadmi Party MPs.
Yes, Sanjay Singh, the Aam Aadmi Party leader, Sanjay Singh has claimed that tonight in the evening he will go and meet the Rajya Sabha chairman regarding the anti-defection law. That anti-defection law prohibits strictly that that any party Rajya Sabha members cannot go and merge into the other party. Regarding this, they will give a letter to the Rajya Sabha chairman, and apart from giving a letter to the Rajya Sabha chairman, the Aam Aadmi Party leader Sanjay Singh has also told that they will also approach the court if the Rajya Sabha chairman does not respond to their letters, and they have already consulted with their legal team regarding this, and they are claiming that they will submit a letter by evening to the Rajya Sabha chairman for the disqualification of all the 7 MPs who have merged with the BJP yesterday, as we have shown the visuals to our viewers, that the Rajya Sabha MPs of the Aam Aadmi Party, including the Raghav Chadha, Ashok Mittal and Sandeep Pathak, joined the BJP in the BJP headquarters situated in the national capital. And now Aam Aadmi Party leader Sanjay Singh has said,
all right, viewers,
पहले एक लूटपाट का कांग्रेस ने लगाया था, कम्युनिस्टों ने लगाया था, टीएमसी लगातार लगा रही है, उससे मुक्त होने का समय आ गया है। बहनों और भाइयों, बंगाल की अपनी गौरवशाली गाथा है। कभी भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था में बंगाल का योगदान सर्वाधिक हुआ करता था, सर्वाधिक होता था। उद्योग धंधे थे, खेती किसानी थी, मत्स्य पालन अच्छा था, लोगों में खुशहाली थी, नौजवान रोजगार पाता था, किसान उन्नत था, बेटी और बहन सुरक्षित हुआ करती थी। लेकिन लगातार बंगाल के अंदर ये सब कम होता गया। बंगाल के अंदर उद्योग धंधे चौपट हुए, गुंडा टैक्स वसूली हुआ, अराजकता चरम की ओर बढ़ने लगा। और आज बंगाल की स्थिति क्या है? पिछले 12-15 वर्षों में 7,000 से अधिक बड़े कारखाने बंद हुए, 20,000 से अधिक एमएसएमई यूनिट बंद हुई, लाखों नौजवान बेरोजगार हुए, धान का उत्पादन लगातार गिरता जा रहा है, मछली उत्पादन का काम लगातार नीचे जा रहा है। माफिया राज, कैटल माफिया, सैंड माफिया, लैंड माफिया हावी होकर के मोदी जी के द्वारा जो पैसा दिल्ली से भेजा जाता है, उस पैसे में टीएमसी के गुंडे पैसा लेकर के उसको कब्जे में लेकर के उसको अपने परिवार के भरण पोषण में खर्च कर देते हैं। बहनों और भाइयों, अब ये कठमनी का खेल समाप्त हुआ, अब ये अराजकता का खेल समाप्त हुआ। ममता दीदी कहती है कि खेला हो बे, हम कहते हैं कि ममता दीदी, अब बंगाल जाग गया है, अब खेला शेष, उन्नयन शुरू, खेला शेष। अब बंगाल जाग गया है, बंगाल विकास के लिए कार्य करेगा, डबल इंजन की सरकार डबल स्पीड से कार्य करेगी। बहनों और भाइयों, जो स्थिति आज बंगाल की है, कमोवेश यही स्थिति उत्तर प्रदेश की 2017 के पहले थी। वहां भी दंगे होते थे, अराजकता चरम पर थी, गुंडागिर्दी थी, बहन और बेटियों की सुरक्षा खतरे में थी, व्यापारी पलायन कर रहा था, नौजवान के लिए रोजगार नहीं था, किसान आत्महत्या कर रहा था, धड़ल्ले से गौ हत्या होती थी, लव जिहाद और लैंड जिहाद की घटनाएं लगातार वहां बढ़ती जा रही थी। महीनों महीनों कर्फ्यू रहता था। जय श्री राम बोलने पर वहां भी लाठी गोली चलती थी। कोई धार्मिक पर्व के पहले, उत्सव के पहले उपद्रव हो जाता था। और आज यूपी के अंदर डबल इंजन की सरकार है। डबल इंजन सरकार, न कर्फ्यू है न दंगा है, यूपी में सब चंगा है। काशी आप जाइए, प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के मार्गदर्शन में काशी एक नई काशी के रूप में दिखाई देती है। कितना बेहतरीन, कितना सुंदर काशी, नई काशी के रूप में। अयोध्या में आप जाएंगे, अयोध्या में अब भगवान राम की पावन जन्मस्थली पर भगवान राम का आसमान छूता हुआ बड़ा, सबसे बड़ा मंदिर बन गया है। भव्य राम मंदिर का निर्माण हो गया है। भव्य राम मंदिर का निर्माण हो गया है। कांग्रेस, कम्युनिस्ट और टीएमसी रोक नहीं पाए। राम मंदिर का निर्माण हो गया। वहां पर अब एक्सप्रेसवे बन रहे हैं, हाईवे बन रहे हैं, एयरपोर्ट बन रहे हैं, इनलैंड वाटरवे की सुविधा हो गई है, रोपवे बन रहे हैं, नौजवानों के लिए रोजगार है, नौकरी है। पिछले 9 वर्ष में उत्तर प्रदेश के अंदर 17,000 से अधिक बड़े कारखाने लगे हैं। लाखों नौजवानों के लिए नौकरी आई है। आज सुरक्षा का वातावरण है, बेटी भी सुरक्षित है, व्यापारी भी सुरक्षित है, हर व्यक्ति को सुरक्षा की गारंटी है। और यूपी का बुलडोजर, बहनों और भाइयों, वो एक्सप्रेसवे ही नहीं बनाता है, माफिया की हड्डी पसली को भी रोड पर मिलाने का काम कर देता है। और इसीलिए आपसे कहने के लिए मैं आया हूं, समय है, ये अवसर है, ये घुसपैठियों को आपके हक में डकैती डलवाने की छूट देने वाली टीएमसी की सरकार से मुक्ति का समय आ गया है। बहनों और भाइयों, जो कार्य भारत के हित में है, बंगाल के हित में है, टीएमसी उसका विरोध करती है। याद करिए, जब सीएए का प्रस्ताव, सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट एक्ट का प्रस्ताव लेकर के प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी देश की संसद में लेकर के आए थे, उस समय टीएमसी ने विरोध किया था। सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट एक्ट
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ और
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े। चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
Corrector, the taste of success.
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता, उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ।
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है, सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
The Indian Air Force is giving its old MiG-29 fighter jets a powerful new weapon from Britain that turns them into modern fighters ready for today's battles. MiG-29s first came to India in the 1980s, have flown many missions along the tough borders with China and Pakistan. Now they are getting equipped with British ASRAAM missiles that make them as strong as NATO planes in close fights. The Ministry of Defense sent out a request for proposals to fit the Advanced Short-Range Air-to-Air Missile on the MiG-29 UPG version. This British missile from the company MBDA replaces the old Russian R-73 that pilots used for years. The R-73 could only reach targets 10 to 15 kilometers away, which forced pilots to fly too close to the enemy and take big risks. The ASRAAM changes all that. It can hit targets more than 25 kilometers away, almost double the old range. It flies at Mach 3 speed and uses a smart infrared seeker that ignores enemy flares and jamming better than before. The Indian Air Force flies more than 55 of these MiG-29 UPG jets in frontline squadrons. These planes guard the northern and western borders day and night. Earlier upgrades added new radars, engines, and digital cockpits, but the short-range missiles stayed old. Now the ASRAAM brings fire-and-forget technology. Once the pilot locks on and fires, the missile finds the target on its own, even if the jet turns away to dodge enemy fire. It also works with helmet-mounted displays, so the pilot can just look at the enemy plane through the visor and the missile follows the eyes. This high off-bore sight ability lets the jet attack from strange angles without turning the whole plane first. This upgrade matters a lot because the region stays tense. Pakistan flies JF-17 jets with modern PL-10 missiles that reach farther and lock on quicker. China uses even better systems on its J-20 stealth fighters and other planes. In a real dogfight, the old MiG-29 with R-73 could lose the first shot. With ASRAAM, the Indian pilots get longer reach, faster lock, and higher chance to survive. The missile also works well against low-flying drones that are hard to see on radar. Many experts see drone swarms as the new big threat in air wars, and this upgrade gives the MiG-29 a strong answer. The ASRAAM already proved itself on Indian planes. The Air Force fitted it successfully on the homemade LCA Tejas and the Jaguar fighters. Those tests went smooth, so putting it on the MiG-29 UPG is a natural next step. The request includes new launchers, special tools, testing equipment, and training for ground crews and pilots. Once the work finishes, the whole fleet will get the missiles step by step. This keeps the MiG-29 useful for many more years until newer Indian planes, like more Tejas and the Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft, join in big numbers. Upgrading the existing MiG-29 fleet saves huge money compared to buying fresh fighters from abroad. It also shows a smart way of mixing technology. India still uses Russian planes but adds Western weapons when they fit better. After supply problems from global sanctions, this diversification makes sure the Air Force never runs short of parts or missiles. The MiG-29 UPG with ASRAAM now matches the close combat power of top Western jets like the Eurofighter or Rafale. Pilots who fly the MiG-29 love its speed and quick turns. With the new missile, the plane stays agile but hits harder and from safer distance. In modern wars full of electronic jamming and surprise attacks, this extra edge can decide who wins. The Indian Air Force is giving its old MiG-29 fighter jets a powerful new weapon from Britain that turns them into modern fighters ready for today's battles. MiG-29s first came to India in the 1980s, have flown many missions along the tough borders with China and Pakistan. Now they are getting equipped with British ASRAAM missiles that make them as strong as NATO.
Brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can. AAP to file plea in Rajya Sabha to seek disqualification of MPs who have defected from the party.
अरविंद केजरीवाल एक निहायती महिला विरोधी इंसान है। आज आम आदमी पार्टी और अरविंद केजरीवाल इस देश में झूठ, भ्रष्टाचार और गुंडागर्दी के लिए जाने जाते हैं।
Swati Maliwal calls Arvind Kejriwal as anti-women, calls him a corrupt politician. Swati Maliwal says Kejriwal is using Punjab as an ATM for his party.
मैं ये मानती हूँ कि आज के समय में प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी ना सिर्फ इस देश में मोस्ट फेमस हैं, मोस्ट पॉपुलर लीडर हैं, वो पूरे विश्व में आज बहुत ही ज्यादा पॉपुलर लीडर हैं।
Swati Maliwal lauds Prime Minister Modi, calls him a global leader. Aam Aadmi Party terms all the pictures released by BJP leader Parvesh Verma as fake. AAP rebuts BJP after Parvesh Verma releases pictures of Kejriwal residents asked to show Delhi CM's home. Kejriwal will show his home then.
और उसी के साथ में मैंने आपको दिखाया था कि उसका एक्सटेंशन भी बन रहा था जिसमें 70 करोड़ रुपए का बजट पास किया गया था। जब हमारे दिल्ली के धुरंधर मतदाताओं ने दिल्ली के रहमान डकैत को हरा दिया तो उसके बाद में वो पंजाब चले गए।
Delhi Deputy CM Parvesh Verma takes a direct shot at Kejriwal after exposing Sheesh Mahal 2.0, calls him Rahman Dakat of New Delhi. After Raghav Chadha breaks up, now sources say more than 60 Punjab MLAs are willing to back Chadha. High-level talks between Iranian delegation led by Foreign Minister Arakchi and Pak's Army Chief Asim Munir comes to an end. Reports say Trump is sending Witkoff and Kushner to Pakistan for negotiations, but Iran says no direct talks planned with the US. Hello and welcome viewers, you're watching live and breaking on Republic TV with me Ishita Mitra. Now our top focus at this hour, breaking news coming in. Himanta Biswa Sharma has now said that he is confident to win this election. Now he goes on to say that this election, not only the first phase but also the second phase we are been winning. He also says that this is because of the consolidation of the Hindu voters. Now he goes on to say if you see the second phase voting will also go very high and will have very comfortable win this time. He says infiltration was the issue in Jharkhand as well, and in Jharkhand infiltration has expanded from West Bengal. So now everyone knows how important it is to chuck Mamta out this time. In this election, Mamta will be thrown out of West Bengal and BJP will form their government. Take a listen.
2021 में जो सबसे ज्यादा सीट्स आई थी भाजपा को वो नॉर्थ बंगाल इलाके से आई थी। 2026 की बात करें तो पहला चरण निकल चुका है, लेकिन जो दूसरा चरण है वो जो है वो एक तरह से परीक्षा की घड़ी है आप लोगों के लिए। दूसरा चरण क्या लगता है, कॉन्फिडेंस क्यों इतना है कि कंफर्टेबल विन होगा?
देखिए, पहला चरण में जो अच्छा वोटे हुए, रीपोलिंग तक नहीं हुए और किसी को वोट लूटने का अधिकार नहीं मिला। लास्ट टाइम क्या हुआ था, पहला चरण का वोट से ही लोगों का दिल में एक टेरर का माहौल बन चुके थे और लोग वोट देने के लिए भी घबरा गया। सेकेंड फेज में फियर साइकोसिस बहुत ज्यादा हो चुका था और टीवी ने भी जो देखा था इधर से गोली पत्थरबाजी, तो सेकेंड फेज वोटिंग में लोगों का दिल बहुत कम थे और बहुत सारा पोलिंग बूथ भी लूट चुका था। लेकिन इस बार पहला सरण से ही जो अच्छा न्यूज आने लगा कि इलेक्शन कमीशन हैज एंश्योर्ड फ्री एंड फेयर वोटिंग, यही हमारा कॉन्फिडेंस का सबसे बड़ा स्तंभ है कि फर्स्ट फेज का जो फेयर वोटिंग हुआ, इनका इम्पैक्ट विल सी दिखा जाएगा इन सेकेंड फेज में, और सेकेंड फेज में भी अच्छा वोटिंग होगे। दूसरा, फर्स्ट फेज हो सेकेंड फेज हो, बंगाल में माहौल परिवर्तन का है, लोग सेंस आते हैं और ये अभी दिखाई देते हैं। इसीलिए मेरा मानना है कि हमारा आंकड़ा 200 तक पहुंच जाएगा।
एक आखिरी सवाल है मंता सर, क्योंकि घुसपैठियों का मामला आप लोगों ने सबसे ज्यादा रखा है मैनिफेस्टो में भी और उस तरह से भी। झारखंड में मुझे याद है घुसपैठियों की बात बहुत ज्यादा हुई थी, लेकिन वहां पे भी ट्राइबल्स ने और मुसलमानों ने हेमंत सोरेन सरकार को चुना। लेकिन यहाँ पे क्या फर्क है?
देखिए, आज मुर्शिदाबाद में डेमोग्राफी का चेंज हुआ है, दिनाजपुर में हुआ है, मालदा में हुआ है। इसका इम्पैक्ट हर लोगों को समझने में समय लेते हैं, इसलिए जब तक अपना घर में दिखाई नहीं देते हैं लोग तब तक नहीं समझता है कि ये रियल है। लेकिन पश्चिम बांग्ला में जैसे डेमोग्राफी का परिवर्तन हो रहा है, लगभग 30% पॉपुलेशन इज नाउ मुस्लिम, अभी लोगों को ये दिखाई दे रहा है। बांग्ला में, झारखंड में हम लोग पहला बार मुद्दा उठाया था, लेकिन पश्चिम बंगाल में वी आर डिस्कसिंग दिस इशू सिंस 2014। अभी मुझे लगता है कि लोगों का बीच में काफी जागरूकता आ चुका है।
All right, here's more political developments are coming to light now. After disassociating herself from BRS, K. Kavita has now launched her own party by the name TRS, Telangana Rashtriya Sena. Now, K. Kavita says that she will be contesting the 2029 Lok Sabha elections with her new party, that is TRS, Telangana Rashtriya Sena. Now, remember, this comes after she disassociated herself from BRS. K. Kavita has now launched her own party by the name TRS, Telangana Rashtriya Sena. She will be contesting 2029 elections with this new party. Now, she says that youngsters, women and farmers will in fact become the priority of this new party. Education and healthcare will be provided free, is what she has promised through her new party. In fact, we also spoke to K. Kavita on this new developments. Let's take a listen.
Well, the party that was in power for 10 years after the formation of Telangana, BRS, and the current Congress regime, both of them have ignored the aspect of the cultural identity and the regional identity of Telangana. Because for the last 60 years, all of us fought for the statehood based on that identity. So my party's motherboard will be Telangana philosophy, Telangana identity. Rest of everything will follow. Because rest of the administration is easy, but the administration should have that impactful assessment of every issue from a standpoint of cultural identity. That is the motherboard of my party. And of course, it also should have a very, very maternal outlook in any policy that we take up, because certain policies or certain schemes, you cannot look at them from a budgeting point of view, but you'll have to look at them from a very positive soft power point of view, like education should be prioritized. So that's why I said I will provide for free health and free education. These are the two core areas under which any middle class household or any poor household is crushed if something goes wrong. And that is a major tension, and that is where 60% of the income goes away of the middle and the poor household. I want to take care of that as a government, because these two are the social obligations of the government, not political issues. I wanted to take them as a very important guiding principles. But of course, because Panchajanyam is Lord Krishna Shankam, he guides all of us. I very strongly believe in him. And Panchajanyam is, we are prioritizing 5 areas, the two being these, and then farmers and employment and social justice. These 5 will be the core guiding issues of the party. I'll have to fight with my own family. I'll have to fight with other very strong parties which are on the wrong side of the dharma. So Panchajanyam is going to guide us. I am hoping the people of Telangana will love me, bless me, and support me in my new endeavor.
There was a lot of speculation regarding the name that you would have your party. So though you have already worked under the name of Jagruti earlier, why not Jagruti and why did you opt for TRS?
Jagruti is a NGO. It will remain so even after the political party is launched. Jagruti has always worked on the cultural front. We've included many employees, many intellectuals, many people who work on the soft power aspects and cultural aspects are associated with Jagruti. So I want to continue that legacy. I want to have that name. TRS is a party for which I worked 20 years myself. My blood, my sweat is in TRS. Well, of course, Honorable KCRG has moved on from that name. I haven't. So I've reclaimed it back. People of Telangana, under the name of TRS, got united, fought for the state and were successful. Now again, we will get united, fight for these 5 core issues, and we will make sure that social justice and humanitarian values and democratic values are taken care of in Telangana.
If you could speak about the colors of the flag and the symbol that you have launched with, a little more about your party orientation.
Well, my party's flag has yellow as a base. Yellow is prosperity. Yellow is also turmeric. I'm very sentimental about turmeric as a woman. And green, of course, is a representation of the farmers, because without farmers, none of us can have a bite. None of us will get anything on the table. Farmers are the core of our society. So farmers, green for farmers, and blue Telangana basically represents the fact that the working class of the Telangana, the middle class of the Telangana, the laborers of the Telangana, the SC, ST, BC, minority and women of Telangana will be the core point in any scheme that I'm going to design once I form the government, and anything that I'll fight for right now being in opposition. So blue represents that. Thank you. Jai Telangana.
Final question. As a woman, the new entrant of women in politics, both are always not very easy for us, especially for women in politics. How do you see yourself in this?
Well, it is very tough. You have seen me. They have created many hurdles for me. They've even thrown me in jail. They've thrown me out of the family. It is very tough, very, very tough when you have to fight with your own people. But if you are on the right side of the justice, I believe it is easy to fight. But then it takes a lot of stomach and a lot of guts to be able to do that. I've suffered. I've gone through hell. But then I believe that only made me much stronger. So I'm going to continue fighting that. And I invite all the young girls of India, kindly choose politics. Politics is a way in which you can change lakhs of lives, not even thousands. Work for it, go for it, invest your time, invest your energy, come join politics.
All right, viewers, now controversy over the pictures released by Delhi Deputy CM Parvesh Verma is now escalating. Questions are being raised over the legitimacy of those pictures. Now, did the Delhi minister show pictures from Pinterest and call it a Sheesh Mahal? Pictures are shown by Parvesh Verma, same as pictures on Pinterest. In fact, we'll show you the 2 window as well, that how these pictures, which have been released by Parvesh Verma, calling it the residence pictures of Kejriwal, terming it as the Sheesh Mahal 2.0. They are very similar to the pictures that we have accessed from Pinterest. In fact, now artistic visualization shown as a Sheesh Mahal, that's the big question. Are these pictures even legitimate? Because they completely resemble the pictures shown on Pinterest, which BJP claims are pictures from Kejriwal's residence, terming it a Sheesh Mahal 2.0. Now, we have seen the statement coming in from Aam Aadmi Party as well. They have called the pictures completely fake. In fact, they have challenged the BJP CM, Delhi CM Rekha Gupta, to show the pictures from her residence along with LG as well. We'll show you the pictures now, viewers. You can see on one side the claim by the BJP, the pictures are put up by Parvesh Verma showing the residence or claiming it to be a residence of Kejriwal. On the other side, pictures are from Pinterest. You can see the similarity between the 2 pictures, in fact, on your screen. And this is how the controversy is now escalating, as AAP, in fact, has challenged the claim put by BJP. They say that all the pictures put forward by Parvesh Verma are, in fact, fake. And on the counter, they have challenged the Delhi CM to put up the pictures of her own residence. And if she does that, Kejriwal, in fact, will come out showing his residence as well. But the big question now, are these pictures shared by BJP were taken by Pinterest? All right, my colleague Ishan now joins me with more details on this. Ishan, questions are now being raised over the legitimacy of the pictures shared by the BJP. Now, there are claims making that these pictures put up by the BJP are in fact pictures taken from Pinterest. Give us more details.
Absolutely. Delhi BJP shared a document with us which contained a lot of images. Now, these images seem to be, this document was seemed to be made by Studio Grey. Studio Grey is a consultation firm that does interior decorating and renovation work, and it does designing work as well. Now, Studio Grey's document contained a lot of images. Now, on doing a reverse Google search of these images, we can see that these are from Pinterest and have been taken out of Pinterest to showcase this. We are currently at 95 Lodhi Estate. Now, 95 Lodhi Estate is the house that has been allocated to Arvind Kejriwal. We have been here for quite some time, and the images seem to be exaggerated and being blown out of proportion.
Okay.
These images are more representational in value, and people from are saying that these are not the actual images of the residents or actual images from inside the residence, but are rather being taken from internet to showcase an exaggerated version of Arvind Kejriwal's residence. Upon checking with sources inside CPWD, it has also come to light that 2 crore rupees was allocated for renovation of 95 Lodhi Estate, and not an absurd amount, because the house of this size requires this much amount for personalization and renovation. So this entire claim by BJP that Sheesh Mahal 2.0 is being created has been come into question, and now this showcasing that these images are from Pinterest also brings into question whether these claims made by BJP are correct or not. Back to you.
All right, Ishan, thanks so much for joining us. And also joining us now is my colleague Saurav, who's been closely tracking this story. Saurav, do take us through the details of this controversy that's now brewing up between BJP and Aam Aadmi Party. Now, BJP put forward a certain pictures, claiming it to be the residence pictures of Kejriwal, saying it is a Sheesh Mahal 2.0. But Aam Aadmi Party has come forward calling all the pictures completely fake. And now this claim also emerging, showing that these pictures put up by the BJP completely resemble the pictures on Pinterest.
Yes, exactly. As you can see, the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Parvez Singh Sahib Verma has told us that basically the new Sheesh Mahal has been created in the national capital, in which the Arvind and this house is situated colony, and has claimed that earlier in the...
All right, yeah, sort of hold on to that thought. I'm also being joined by my colleague Niranjan on this. Niranjan, do put these developments into perspective for our viewers. The controversy seems to be escalating, and now these pictures completely resembling what we have accessed from Pinterest.
Well, you know, we asked this question to the Aam Aadmi Party because the BJP held a news conference. It was a sitting minister, Parvesh Verma, who held a news conference, and he put out the pictures. It was a claim by the BJP, and they asked the Aam Aadmi Party to tell if the pictures were fake. And when we got the Aam Aadmi Party on the phone and we spoke to several leaders, I think Anurag Dhanda was one of them, we asked them whether the pictures are real. They said the pictures are fake, and they asked us to do a fact check. Now, our reporter Ishan has got some details. It appears that this is actually not a real picture. It is not from anybody's house. Actually, if you take a closer look at the picture, you can see that it's an artist's impression. It's not even a real picture. And in the window, you can see that there is a window, and you can see the sea in the background. And obviously, if it's Delhi, and they're assuming or they're alleging that Sheesh Mahal is in Delhi, there is no sea in Delhi. That's not the point. Point is the pictures that were shown by Parvesh Verma are pictures also available on the internet.
Right.
Okay. Pictures shown by Parvesh Verma and which he claimed were Kejriwal's home are also available on Pinterest. So it appears that these were an artist's impression and not Kejriwal's home. Right? So let's see if we can get Anurag Dhanda on the phone line. We're trying to see if we can get him on the phone line. But these pictures are certainly these pictures are not from Kejriwal's home. That is what we wanted to tell you, that these pictures seem to be from from a catalogue and from some artist pinboard on Pinterest.
Right.
So let's see if the BJP responds to this. Did Parvesh Verma then show fake pictures? That's the question. The face-off continues between BJP and Aam Aadmi Party. AAP claimed the pictures were fake, and we did a fact check, because you go click on the picture, it takes you to Pinterest board, so it's not really Arvind Kejriwal's home. Ishan is also joining us live. Ishan, you've seen these pictures. It's first of all not a real picture. Secondly, seems to be sourced from the internet, isn't it?
Absolutely. The images, once we got the document from Delhi BJP, we ran a reverse Google search on them, screenshotting each image, and all of the images shown within the document itself were in fact from Google Images or Pinterest. Now these images were representational and part of a vision board. We have been trying to contact Studio Grey, the creator of this document, whether this is actually for Arvind Kejriwal's residence or not. That is still to be confirmed by Studio Grey, but we are trying to get connect with them. Studio Grey is a firm that does interior decorating and renovation for homes. Now all this is being showcases that the images shown by Parvesh Verma during the press conference were definitely not of actually Kejriwal's home interiors, but more of a vision or more of an idea of what could have been. But they are not currently as of yet of Arvind Kejriwal's current residence. And further than that, I connected with sources inside CPWD. They said that the total amount allocated for renovation is around 2 crores, and the house of this size requires this amount to be renovated for various reasons. So the total amount that was allocated by CPWD for the renovation of 95 Lodi Estate, that is Arvind Kejriwal's residence, is around 2 crores and not what Parvesh Verma claimed to be. So this somehow showcases that Parvesh Verma shared images that were not actually of Arvind Kejriwal's residence, but of taken from the internet, and this somehow brings into light the claims made by Delhi BJP regarding Sheesh Mahal 2.0. So the entire story is still developing. We are trying to connect with the relevant authorities to find out what the actual cost is and how true these claims are made by Parvesh Verma. Back to you.
Okay, let's see if we can get Aam Aadmi Party back on the phone line. But what did the minister claim? What did the minister claim today? Saurabh, what did the minister claim? What did Parvesh Verma claim? And can you take us through what he said about these pictures?
Yes, Parvesh Verma claimed that the Aam Aadmi Party chief Arvind Kejriwal has again made a new Sheesh Mahal for himself, and he has been shifted yesterday only. And he told during a press conference that earlier Sheesh Mahal was built by the money used of the liquor mafia, and now again Arvind Kejriwal, who says that he is a common man, is now not a common man, as he a luxurious life in the national capital. He has demanded a luxurious home, and now he has got a new Sheesh Mahal in the national capital, which is situated at the 95 Lodi Estate. These are the claims made by the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Parvesh Singh Sahib Verma during the press conference in the national capital. Back to you.
So this is a story that's becoming bigger. The Aam Aadmi Party challenging the BJP. In fact, another point that was made, Ishita, by the Aam Aadmi Party is that while calling the pictures fake, they said, why don't Rekha Gupta?
Right.
They said, why don't Rekha Gupta and why don't Parvesh Verma, why don't Manjinder Sirsa, why don't LG of Delhi all open up their homes so that we see who lives in which house and in what opulence. Now, this was a counter challenge that was thrown by the Aam Aadmi Party. We're trying to get them on the phone line, but so far there is no response. But it appears like this may have boomeranged on the BJP really. Parvesh Verma has perhaps ended up showing pictures from the internet and passing them off as Arvind Kejriwal's house. Ishita, we'll just hold on because we're just waiting for that response to come in.
Right.
Or maybe
Of
we can
course,
also play
we
out
have-
what Parvesh Verma said. Yes, Ishita.
Right, of course, we have seen, Aam Aadmi Party throwing a counter challenge here to BJP to show the pictures of the residents of course, the Delhi CM. They've also asked the LG to show the pictures from his residence. And once that happens, of course, the Kejriwal, they say, is ready to come out with the pictures of his own residents. Not just that, the Aam Aadmi Party has also threatened to file a defamation case against Parvesh Verma for showing all of these fake pictures and claiming them to be the pictures of the residents of Arvind Kejriwal, terming it as the Sheesh Mahal 2.0. So certainly this controversy is now escalating between BJP and AAP, and More Republic, in fact, has now accessed to show that how these pictures, which were put forward by BJP, are in fact pictures sourced from the internet. And they do not reflect the reality inside Kejriwal's house. Of course, Niranjan, we will try to get a reaction from Aam Aadmi Party on this and BJP as well, because they are also answerable on the kind of pictures they have shared through a press conference, claiming that they are pictures from inside Kejriwal's residence. They have made allegations against the former Delhi CM about his lifestyle, about the luxuries that he has been enjoying, and at the same time terming it as a Sheesh Mahal 2.0. So these are the questions that will be raised from both the sides, in fact, and we will, on Republic, try and get reaction from both the parties. But right now, Republic has shown our viewers that how these pictures, which were shared by Parvesh Verma, in fact, in a press conference earlier, resemble the pictures which have been sourced by the internet. They are freely available on Pinterest, completely resembling those pictures. So now questions are being raised on Parvesh Verma about how did he share these pictures, which turn out to be the pictures sourced from internet and also from Aam Aadmi Party, regarding their next course of action, because they have threatened to file a defamation case against the BJP. And now, viewers, we are slipping into a very short break, but don't go anywhere. Coming back on the other side, all the latest developments on this controversy that's now escalating between BJP and AAP, as BJP now shares pictures claiming to be from inside Kejriwal's residence, terming it Sheesh Mahal 2.0.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात।
वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है?
अरे मेरे राजा,
मसाला केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। अब बताओ, स्वाद आया?
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
The Indian Air Force is giving its old MiG-29 fighter jets a powerful new weapon from Britain that turns them into modern fighters ready for today's battles. MiG-29s first came to India in the 1980s, have flown many missions along the tough borders with China and Pakistan. Now they are getting equipped with British ASRAAM missiles that make them as strong as NATO planes in close fights. The Ministry of Defense sent out a request for proposals to fit the Advanced Short-Range Air-to-Air Missile on the MiG-29 UPG version. This British missile from the company MBDA replaces the old Russian R-73 that pilots used for years. The R-73 could only reach targets 10 to 15 kilometers away, which forced pilots to fly too close to the enemy and take big risks. The ASRAAM changes all that. It can hit targets more than 25 kilometers away, almost double the old range. It flies at Mach 3 speed and uses a smart infrared seeker that ignores enemy flares and jamming better than before. The Indian Air Force flies more than 55 of these MiG-29 UPG jets in frontline squadrons. These planes guard the northern and western borders day and night. Earlier upgrades added new radars, engines, and digital cockpits, but the short-range missiles stayed old. Now the ASRAAM brings fire-and-forget technology.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hello and welcome viewers. You're watching live and breaking on Republic TV with me, Ishita Mitra. Now viewers, our top focus at this hour, the controversy brewing between BJP and Aam Aadmi Party. Now BJP's Parvesh Verma shared some pictures this morning through a press conference claiming that these pictures are from inside Arvind Kejriwal's residence. He termed it as a Sheesh Mahal 2.0. But now Aam Aadmi Party is also hitting back, calling all the pictures fake. They have also threatened to file a defamation case, and the questions are now being raised about the legitimacy of the pictures shared by BJP. Now the question is, were the pictures shown by the minister same as pics from Pinterest? Now we have accessed those pictures showing that these pictures are put up by Parvesh Verma are freely available on internet. They in fact are available on a catalogue on Pinterest. My colleague Niranjan also joins me to put these developments into perspective for our viewers. Niranjan, it seems that all the pictures put forward by the BJP, they completely resemble the pictures which are freely available on the internet. So almost claiming that what AAP is saying, these pictures are indeed fake.
Well, we've done a back check on these pictures, and Ishan has, done these, I think we have Anmol Pawar on the phone line. Anmol, are you there? Okay, so let me see if we can go to Ishan to get details of how he did a check on these pictures. Ishan, if you're there, tell us more about these pictures. How many pictures are traced back to Pinterest and other sources? Why don't we do one thing? We can even play out, what Parvesh Verma said. Anmol Pawar is on the phone line. Anmol, are you there? Anmol, are you there? Okay, we lost Anmol Pawar. A few minutes back we had Anurag Dhanda also on the phone line, and Anurag Dhanda challenged us, saying that, you should check the pictures and check whether the pictures are fake. And it appears that, of course, some of these pictures may have not been real pictures, but Pinterest pictures that were passed off as Arvind Kejriwal's home. Let me see if we can go back to Anurag Dhanda. Let's try and get him back on the phone line. But Ishita, we should play out what Parvesh Verma said so that people get context to what was said and what was shown. Anmol Pawar is back on the phone line. Anmol Pawar, if you're there, it appears that some of these pictures are from the internet, from Pinterest.
Good afternoon. Yes, certainly. BJP has been spinning these false narratives. We have been saying it very categorically that these images are fake. They have been lifted, and look where the politics stands today. When they haven't been able to establish any single case of corruption against our leaders, they resort to tarnishing our image. They resort to these kind of fake politics. They manufacture fiction, and instead of addressing the real issues of the country, they try to crush the opposition as they have been doing since last 10 years. Today, they have also...
Anmol, be with me. Anmol, be with me, because I have Anurag Dhanda also. Anurag Dhanda was extremely upset the last time we spoke to him. I asked him whether these pictures are real, because obviously they were put out and we were putting out a claim versus claim. Anurag Dhanda got very upset. Anurag Dhanda, we did a back check and a reporter says that some of these pictures have been traced back to Pinterest. We are showing those pictures. These pictures are available on Pinterest. They were passed off as Kejriwal's home. It's on. There's a link also that shows that it's traced back to Pinterest. So how would you respond to this, Anurag Dhanda?
Hello. मुझे कोई ऑडियो नहीं आ रहा है.
Yeah, Anurag, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. We saw that some of these pictures are traced back to Pinterest. Our reporter saw that some of these pictures are traced back to Pinterest. They were passed off as Kejriwal's house. Are you denying all of it, including some videos that were put out? Because some of the pictures certainly are not real. They are artist's impression. They are traced from the internet.
देखिए, आप इसी से अंदाजा लगा सकते हैं कि बीजेपी के फ्रस्ट्रेशन का क्या लेवल है कि एक मंत्री के पद पर बैठा हुआ व्यक्ति खुद बता रहे हैं पिंटरेस्ट से पिक्चर्स को डाउनलोड करके, इंटरनेट से पिक्चर्स को डाउनलोड करके और उनको अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के घर की पिक्चर्स बता रहा है। तो इससे आप पता लगा सकते हैं कि बीजेपी फ्रस्ट्रेट है इस बात से कि वो आम आदमी पार्टी को रोक नहीं पा रहे। गुजरात में जबरदस्त धक्का भारतीय जनता पार्टी को लगा, इनके पांव के नीचे से जमीन खिसक रही है। लोकल बॉडीज के चुनाव चल रहे हैं, अभी उसके नतीजे आएंगे तो पता चलेगा। और पंजाब में ये घुस नहीं पा रहे हैं, इस वजह से ये डेस्पिरेशन में ये सारी हरकतें कर रहे हैं। जो 7 मेंबर्स छोड़ के गए आम आदमी पार्टी को, उनकी भी मेंबरशिप खतरे में है। उनके खिलाफ भी अब हमने अपील लगा दी है सभापति के यहाँ पर। उन्होंने कानून का पालन नहीं किया, उनकी भी सदस्यता जाएगी। और यहाँ पर ये जो मंत्री झूठ बोल के गए हैं आज सारे टीवी चैनल्स के सामने, अपनी बेइज्जती करा रहे हैं, अपना ही अपमान करा रहे हैं। मैंने तो बताया आसान रास्ता, अगर इनको वाकई में कंपैरिजन करना है, अगर इनको वाकई में अरविंद केजरीवाल जी का घर देखना है तो बहुत आसान रास्ता है। आप रेखा गुप्ता जी के घर पे वीडियो कैमरास सब चैनल्स के ले जाइए, हम उसके बाद अरविंद केजरीवाल जी का घर दिखा देंगे। लेट पीपल कंपेयर, लोगों को कंपेयर करने दीजिए। तो इससे साफ पता चलता है कि बीजेपी फ्रस्ट्रेट हो चुकी है बुरी तरह से। आम आदमी पार्टी को, केजरीवाल जी को रोक नहीं पा रही है किसी तरह से, इसलिए फ्रस्ट्रेशन में ऐसी हरकतें कर रहे हैं।
No, they seem to be suggesting that Arvind Kejriwal. There's some videos also put out, Anurag. So are you completely challenging them? Why don't you challenge them in court on these videos also?
Everything will be done. Everything will be done. That's why I'm saying it's media responsibility also that we verify things. And if these are fake pictures, we should call out such people who are misusing your platform as well. इसलिए मैंने बोला सब कुछ किया जाएगा, इनको कानून के दायरे में भी घसीटेंगे और इनको लोग भी जवाब देंगे। लोकतांत्रिक तरीके से तो इनकी हिम्मत है नहीं मुकाबला करने की, उस तरीके से तो ये आम आदमी पार्टी से लड़ नहीं सकते। दिल्ली के चुनाव में भी इन्होंने यही सब धांधली धोखाधड़ी की थी, एक फर्जी केस बताया था जो कोर्ट में धराशायी हो गया, जिसको कोर्ट ने कह दिया कि ये सुनने के लायक तक नहीं है। तो मुझे लगता है कि बीजेपी अब ये सोच के फ्रस्ट्रेट हो चुकी है कि कैसे लोग हैं ये, इनको जेल में डालो, इनके खिलाफ साजिशें करो, उसके बावजूद भी किसी तरह से इनको रोका नहीं जा पा रहा। तो अब ये झूठी पिक्चर्स फ्लोट करके, और अब ये कहें झूठी पिक्चर्स फ्लोट करके कि ये अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के घर की पिक्चर्स है, इससे बड़ा फ्रस्ट्रेशन क्या हो सकता है। मैं तो एक नेशनल टेलीविजन पे ये कह रहा हूँ, प्रवेश वर्मा जी को शर्म आनी चाहिए कि वो एक मंत्री के पद पर बैठे हुए हैं और इंटरनेट से डाउनलोड करके फर्जी पिक्चर शेयर कर रहे हैं और कह रहे हैं कि ये अरविंद केजरीवाल के घर की पिक्चर है। इससे शर्मनाक कुछ हो सकता है?
Well, absolutely. Okay, let's see where the story goes, Anurag, because you challenged us and you've taken a clip and you've put it on social media also. So I thought I'll just get you back and then tell you that these pictures are fake. We've done a back check on it, and it's our duty also to carry both versions. So we've done that. There was a news conference, and during the news conference, what was claimed was put out as claimed, and we've done our part, and we've called you. You've put out your part. That's the most that we can do, and we can put out the facts as shown on screen. But let's leave it at that. Can I take one question from you on Punjab? What's happening in Punjab? There are reports that that some numbers are floating around that some MLAs are in touch with Raghav Chadha. Is there any truth to it?
देखिए, हमने मुख्यमंत्री भगवंत मान जी ने राष्ट्रपति महोदय से समय मांगा है। सारे विधायकों के साथ वो राष्ट्रपति जी से मिलना चाहते हैं और इन सारे मेंबर्स को रिकॉल करने का रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे, क्योंकि उन्हीं विधायकों के वोट से ये सारे के सारे राज्यसभा के मेंबर चुन करके आए हैं। तो अब अगर ये वहां से चुन करके आए हैं, तो जब विधायक आम आदमी पार्टी के साथ है जिनके वोट से ये चुन के आए, तो इनको इस तरीके से पार्टी बदलने का कोई अधिकार नहीं है, ये गैर कानूनी है। इसलिए राष्ट्रपति जी से मिलने का समय मांगा है। मुख्यमंत्री भगवंत मान जी अपने सारे विधायकों को लेकर उनके पास जाएंगे, आपके सारे सवालों के जवाब अपने आप मिल जाएंगे।
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Anurag Dhanda, for joining us on Republic TV there, and we will come back with Niranjan as well in a short while from now. But viewers, this is the big story that we're tracking right now. The political face-off, rather it's more of a, you can see it's a high-paced war that we see that is breaking out between the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP. There is, of course, the legal trouble also, and at the same time we see now this Sheesh Mahal war has also once again broken out. Niranjan is back with us, I'm told. Niranjan, well, we can see that this is a picture. We've accessed this, we've searched for this, and you see that caption, dream bedroom inspiration. I think the BJP was looking for some more ammunition against the Aam Aadmi Party, but clearly we see that this is something that has been lifted from a platform.
Yes, and there is more breaking news coming in now that Bhagwant Mann has sought time to meet the President of India. So I think he's going to meet the President. So the story is getting bigger now. Following the breakup of the Aam Aadmi Party, we have a confirmation. The Aam Aadmi Party has gone on record to say that the Chief Minister of Punjab, Bhagwant Mann, has requested a meeting with the President of India, Draupadi Murmu, and that he will meet the President along with the MLAs of Punjab. This is a confirmation that we have. There were reports of some MLAs who are unhappy and were willing to jump ship, but I think they're trying to put an end to that talk. Bhagwant Mann has requested an appointment with the President. He will present his views on the recall of Punjab's Rajya Sabha members who joined the BJP. So I think this is where the story is going. I'm handing it back to you as Anmol Pawar, I think, of the Aam Aadmi Party is joining us. Rakshita, over to you. You can take it over with him. And we'll also try and get BJP so that there's a face-off live.
Okay. All right. So we have Anmol joining us. Anmol, well, this is Bhagwant Mann now seeking an appointment with the President. That it looks like that the Aam Aadmi Party is not holding back at all, and the fight is going to go further.
Good afternoon. Certainly, what has been done is not in accordance with law, and certainly will proceed ahead as per the directions of our legal team and the senior leadership. And today, you might have seen that how terrified the Bharatiya Janata Party is that they have banned the Instagram and Facebook page of Gujarat, because in last 1 month, we have garnered more than 8 crore views on that. So they are completely rattled. They want to suppress the voice of Aam Aadmi of this country. But na hum jhukne wale hain, na hum darne wale hain. Mazbooti se ladenge. और गुजरात की जनता इन्हें चुनाव में जवाब देगी करारा.
Now, Mr. Pawar, Raghav Chadda's claim of merging with the BJP hinges on the 10th schedule of the Indian Constitution, specifically the paragraph 4 that provides an exception to disqualification of defection in the case of a merger. So, what will be the Aam Aadmi Party's counter to it, if at all? Because it's also talking, your party is also talking about taking the legal battle, or taking to the legal battle as well. What are the views per se that Bhagwant Mann will be presenting before the President?
I'm not aware what he would be presenting before the President, but certainly as per law, the Constitution bench judgment very categorically said, if you have covered the Maharashtra government case, it says that the original political party has to merge with another party, not just the parliamentary party of the party. So, legally, it doesn't stand. The anti-defection law very clearly states that it is the political party which has to merge, not the parliamentary party of the party.
So, but we see as per the norms, as a member shall not be disqualified if the original political party merges with another party. So you're saying that the original party has not merged, and henceforth this cannot happen?
Certainly, and as our leader Sanjay Singh ji today addressed before the media that he is approaching the Rajya Sabha chairman, and he'll be giving a written representation, and you'll get to know about the developments thereafter.
And what about the disqualifications? Because the Aam Aadmi Party is also talking about disqualifying these MPs.
Certainly, we are moving ahead with that, as stated by our leader Sanjay Singh ji today. And we'll also proceed with a defamation case against all those media houses and the Deputy CM of Delhi, Pravesh Verma, who's spinning false narratives, these false images which even you are not authenticating, even you are stating on record that these are false and lifted from Pinterest. And I challenge you, agar itni hi sachai hai unme, then call him today to your studio and let's have a debate.
We are trying, sir. We're trying to get, right now as we speak, we're trying to connect with our BJP spokespersons as well. So we are trying to get reactions from the BJP, and we have also questioned, of course, we have ourselves put out both the sides. If you just saw our report, the previous report that we're playing out, sir. So there's nothing to challenge, sir. I mean, we are doing our job, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. We are, in fact, if we would like to have a face-off right now with the BJP spokesperson, once we connect with them, once they receive our calls, of course, we will be putting that debate across. We would love you to have, we would love you to also respond to them. In the meantime, we have our reporters investigating the matter and also tracking this very, very closely. I think Ishan is with us, and also is Saurav. Saurav is tracking this story from since yesterday, in fact. Saurav, what are you understanding right now? There are multiple fronts have opened up. So there is this political battle. A party is trying hard to save itself. Then there is legislature. There is the question of legality. And now there are wars, these picture wars, so to speak, that are going on right now. In the latest, we have Bhagwant Mann seeking a meeting with the president, with Punjab MLAs. Saurav.
Yes, the Punjab CM has sought time to the President of India, Draupadi Murmu, regarding a meeting with the sitting MLAs of the Punjab, so that all the air regarding this, that the MLAs are in touch with Raghav Chadha and they want to jump ships to the BJP, so that these all rumors can be cleared out. Bhagwant Mann has sought time from the President of India, as we have broken this news on our broadcast, as the spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party has revealed this first on Republic, and after that, I want to tell our viewers that the Aam Aadmi Party has also told that they will file a defamation suit against the BJP regarding circulating these fake images of the Arvind Kejriwal's house, which were taken from the Pinterest, as our reporter Ishan has revealed that all these pictures have a digital footprint, and it all lead to a Pinterest profile, where the profile of a interior designer company. These images were put up by the company for a proposal, and it was not. These pictures are not of the Arvind Kejriwal's latest house, in which he has shifted yesterday only, which is situated at the 95 Lodi estate in the national capital. And apart from this, the Aam Aadmi Party has also challenged the Delhi CM and Delhi Deputy CM Parvez Singh Sahib Verma, along with the Delhi LG, to open up their houses for the people, and they will decide on their own that who is living a luxurious life in the national capital. And after the BJP Chief Minister and the MLAs open up their houses, then only the Aam Aadmi Party will show the current house of the Arvind Kejriwal in which he is residing. These are the major developments which we are picking up on the ground, and a political slugfest has emerged since morning on this issue after the Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, Parvez Singh Sahib Verma, in a PC floated these pictures, telling that these pictures belong to the current resident of the Arvind Kejriwal. And after that, several reactions started pouring in, as Sanjay Singh has challenged the BJP along with the Atishi, and now the Sanjay Singh will also file a defamation suit against this. And these are the latest developments which we are fetching from the ground. Back to you.
All right. In fact, Ishan, I think, is also with us. Ishan, tell us more details. What are you picking up as far as this political war is concerned?
Absolutely. In the morning, Parvez Verma held a press conference during which he called Arvind Kejriwal the Rahman Dakat of Delhi. And then he said, like Dhurandhar, the people of Delhi have removed him from Delhi. Now, after that, he circulated a lot of images where he claimed that Arvind Kejriwal had built a Sheesh Mahal 2.0 at 95 Lodi Estate, wherein a lot of images of bedrooms, furniture, fixtures, and a lot of the interiors were showcased. Upon doing a deep dive, they also shared a document which was actually from Studio Grey. Now, this document has the title Residence of Mr. and Mrs. Kejriwal, but it also included a lot of images. When doing a reverse Google search of these images, all of them were seen either taken from Google Images or from Pinterest. All of these images were in fact only representational, and none of them were in fact from inside the Kejriwal residence. We have been in front of 95 Lodi Estate, and we have been covering this from here, showcasing that the entire claim that was made by Parvez Verma on this was not actually with images from Kejriwal's residence, but all from the internet. We also got in touch with CPWD, and sources at CPWD told us that the budget allocated for renovating 95 Lodi estate was around 2 crore rupees, and not as claimed by BJP that a large sum of money was sent in to renovate the home of newly allocated home of Arvind Kejriwal. The upgrades to this home were because of maintenance and other aspects, but not because of luxury aspects. This is what the CPWD source told us. Apart from that, we have also searched the images and the representational designs that were submitted by Studio Grey. All of these images were only representational and do not showcase the actual reality of 95 Lodi estate. Back to you, Rakshita.
All right, Ishan and Saurav, thank you so much for joining us. But we will be, in fact, continue to track the story very, very closely, viewers, as the story unfolds. This is, of course, the biggest story this Saturday that we are tracking for you. BJP versus Aam Aadmi Party on multiple fronts. The latest is the Sheesh Mahal picture wars. We'll get you more on that. Stay tuned.
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ,
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
The Indian Air Force is giving its old MiG-29 fighter jets a powerful new weapon from Britain that turns them into modern fighters ready for today's battles. MiG-29s first came to India in the 1980s, have flown many missions along the tough borders with China and Pakistan. Now they are getting equipped with British ASRAAM missiles that make them as strong as NATO planes in close fights. The Ministry of Defense sent out a request for proposals to fit the Advanced Short-Range Air-to-Air Missile on the MiG-29 UPG version. This British missile from the company MBDA replaces the old Russian R-73 that pilots used for years. The R-73 could only reach targets 10 to 15 kilometers away, which forced pilots to fly too close to the enemy and take big risks. The ASRAAM changes all that. It can hit targets more than 25 kilometers away, almost double the old range. It flies at Mach 3 speed and uses a smart infrared seeker that ignores enemy flares and jamming better than before. The Indian Air Force flies more than 55 of these MiG-29 UPG jets in frontline squadrons. These planes guard the northern and western borders day and night. Earlier upgrades added new radars, engines, and digital cockpits, but the short-range missiles stayed old. Now the ASRAAM brings fire-and-forget technology. Once the pilot locks on and fires, the missile finds the target on its own, even if the jet turns away to dodge enemy fire. It also works with helmet-mounted displays, so the pilot can just look at the enemy plane through the visor and the missile follows the eyes. This high off-bore sight ability lets the jet attack from strange angles without turning the whole plane first. This upgrade matters a lot because the region stays tense. Pakistan flies JF-17 jets with modern PL-10 missiles that reach farther and lock on quicker. China uses even better systems on its J-20 stealth fighters and other planes. In a real dogfight, the old MiG-29 with R-73 could lose the first shot. With ASRAAM, the Indian pilots get longer reach, faster lock, and higher chance to survive. The missile also works well against low-flying drones that are hard to see on radar. Many experts see drone swarms as the new big threat in air wars, and this upgrade gives the MiG-29 a strong answer. The ASRAAM already proved itself on Indian planes. The Air Force fitted it successfully on the homemade LCA Tejas and the Jaguar fighters. Those tests went smooth, so putting it on the MiG-29 UPG is a natural next step. The request includes new launchers, special tools, testing equipment, and training for ground crews and pilots. Once the work finishes, the whole fleet will get the missiles step by step. This keeps the MiG-29 useful for many more years until newer Indian planes, like more Tejas and the Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft, join in big numbers. Upgrading the existing MiG-29 fleet saves huge money compared to buying fresh fighters from abroad. It also shows a smart way of mixing technology. India still uses Russian planes but adds Western weapons when they fit better. After supply problems from global sanctions, this diversification makes sure the Air Force never runs short of parts or missiles. The MiG-29 UPG with ASRAAM now matches the close combat power of top Western jets like the Eurofighter or Rafale. Pilots who fly the MiG-29 love its speed and quick turns. With the new missile, the plane stays agile but hits harder and from safer distance.
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा।
The Indian Air Force is giving its old MiG-29 fighter jets a powerful new weapon from Britain that turns them into modern fighters ready for today's battles. MiG-29s first came to India in the 1980s, have flown many missions along the tough borders with China and Pakistan. Now they are getting equipped with British ASRAAM missiles that make them as strong as NATO planes in close fights. The Ministry of Defense sent out a request for proposals to fit the Advanced Short-Range Air-to-Air Missile on the MiG-29 UPG version. This British missile from the company MBDA replaces the old Russian R-73 that pilots used for years. The R-73 could only reach targets 10 to 15 kilometers away, which forced pilots to fly too close to the enemy and take big risks. The ASRAAM changes all that. It can hit targets more than 25 kilometers away, almost double the old range. It flies at Mach 3 speed and uses a smart infrared seeker that ignores enemy flares and jamming better than before. The Indian Air Force flies more than 55 of these MiG-29 UPG jets in frontline squadrons. These planes guard the northern and western borders day and night. Earlier upgrades added new radars, engines, and digital cockpits, but the short-range missiles stayed old. Now the ASRAAM brings fire-and-forget technology. Once the pilot locks on and fires, the missile finds the target on its own, even if the jet turns away to dodge enemy fire. It also works with helmet-mounted displays, so the pilot can just look at the enemy plane through the visor and the missile follows the eyes. This high off-bore sight ability lets the jet attack from strange angles without turning the whole plane first. This upgrade matters a lot because the region stays tense. Pakistan flies JF-17 jets with modern PL-10 missiles that reach farther and lock on quicker. China uses even better systems on its J-20 stealth fighters and other planes. In a real dogfight, the old MiG-29 with R-73 could lose the first shot. With ASRAAM, the Indian pilots get longer reach, faster lock, and higher chance to survive. The missile also works well against
Hello and welcome viewers. This weekend on our Education College Ranking Show, discover top colleges shaping careers in pharmacy, law, architecture, BBA and hotel management. The rankings are in, but do they tell the full story? Don't miss episode 2 on Republic TV. And now let's take a look at the top headlines we're tracking for you at this hour. Headlines brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can. AAP to file plea in Rajya Sabha to seek a disqualification of MPs who have defected from the party.
अरविंद केजरीवाल एक निहायती महिला विरोधी इंसान है। आज आम आदमी पार्टी और अरविंद केजरीवाल इस देश में झूठ, भ्रष्टाचार और गुंडागर्दी के लिए जाने जाते हैं।
Swati Maliwal calls Arvind Kejriwal an anti-women and a corrupt politician. Swati Maliwal says Kejriwal is using Punjab as an ATM for his personal gains.
मैं ये मानती हूँ कि आज के समय में प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी ना सिर्फ इस देश में मोस्ट फेमस हैं, मोस्ट पॉपुलर लीडर हैं, वो पूरे विश्व में आज बहुत ही ज्यादा पॉपुलर लीडर हैं।
Swati Maliwal lauds Prime Minister Narendra Modi, calls him a global leader. Aam Aadmi Party terms all the pictures released by BJP's Parvesh Verma as completely fake. Hello and welcome viewers. You're watching Live and Breaking on Republic TV with me, Ishita Mitra. Top focus at this hour. Now, BJP Punjab Working President Ashwini Sharma has spoken to Republic TV. Ashwini Sharma now says AAP has no internal democracy and ideology. And that's the reason the MPs have now shifted to BJP. He also goes on to mention Raghav Chadha and Sanjeev Pathak. They have been the architect of Punjab and we will definitely get the benefits. Let's listen into this exclusive conversation that BJP leader had with Republic. Let's take a listen.
केजरीवाल की लीडरशिप पे प्रश्न उठता है, उसकी कार्यशैली पे प्रश्न है। जिन लोगों ने उनके साथ कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर आंदोलन से लेकर पार्टी को खड़ा करने में साथ दिया, आखिर क्या कारण रहे कि वो उनको पार्टी छोड़ने तक जाना पड़ा? इल्जाम लगाने से कुछ नहीं होगा। स्वाति मालीवाल का अपमान करना, राघव चड्ढा को इग्नोर करना, इसका मतलब उस पार्टी के अंदर ना कोई लोकतंत्र है, ना चर्चा होती है, केवल डिक्टेटरशिप होती है। और मुझे जो लगता है कि जब कोई पार्टी जो आदर्श बता के सत्ता में आती है, जहाँ पार्टी बनाती है, जब उन आदर्शों का हनन होता है तो ये विस्फोट होते हैं। और मुझे लगता है कि भ्रष्टाचार मुक्त देश बनाने की, देश बदलने की बात करने वालों ने देश तो बदला नहीं, खुद भ्रष्टाचार की दलदल में ग्रस्त हो गया, जिसका सुप्रीमो। और पंजाब में जिस प्रकार 4 साल से राज चल रहा है, पंजाब ने पंजाबियों को राज देने के लिए वोट दिया था, केजरीवाल को राज करने के लिए वोट नहीं दिया था।
अश्विनी जी, आपने कहा कि डिक्टेटरशिप उस पार्टी में चल रही थी जिसका विस्फोट हुआ है। एलिगेशन और आरोप तो आपकी पार्टी पर भी लगते हैं कि इसी तरह की डिक्टेटरशिप है वो आपकी पार्टी पर भी है, में भी है।
बीजेपी के अंदर बहुत लोकतंत्र है। ये एक ऐसा मात्र दल है जो बूथ से लेके राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष तक कार्य पद्धति के आधार पर चलता है। हमारे यहाँ निर्णय सामूहिक होते हैं, यहाँ चर्चा होती है, हर व्यक्ति को अपने विचारों की अभिव्यक्ति की आज़ादी है और मिलकर निर्णय लेते हैं। लेकिन वहाँ ऐसी स्थिति नहीं है, वहाँ महिला की पिटाई की जाती है। अब मेरे को बताओ पंजाब का क्या दोष है? पंजाब ने वोट दिया आम आदमी पार्टी को, मुख्यमंत्री बनाया पार्टी ने मान को। क्या 4 साल से मान सरकार चला रहा है? आप जाइए तो सही। मान केवल पर्ची वाला मुख्यमंत्री है, ऊपर से जो लिख के आता है उसको पढ़ता है और करता है। सेक्रेटरीट के अंदर जितने ऑफिस हैं बाहरी लोगों का वहां दबदबा है। केजरीवाल अप्रोक्ष रूप से यहां सरकार चला रहा है।
Now, viewers, the Rajya Sabha BJP MP Satnam Sandhu has also spoken to Republic TV. This after the shifting of 7 AAP MPs into the party. Now, he says now that BJP in Rajya Sabha can raise the public issue, Punjab issues over the shifting. Now, he also says on the question of MLAs joining BJP that very soon more MLAs would hear their internal and heart voice. Now, possibly hinting at more MLAs that could be shifting to BJP. Let's take a listen.
मैं सबसे पहले तो स्वागत करता हूं जो हमारे राज्यसभा के सांसद पंजाब से भारतीय जनता पार्टी ज्वाइन किए हैं, क्योंकि पहले पंजाब से मैं अकेला ही राज्यसभा में पंजाब के मुद्दे लेके जाता था। लेकिन अब भारतीय जनता पार्टी के मंच पे ये सभी साथी मिलकर हम पंजाब की बात रखेंगे। हम गैर रस्मी तौर पे सांसद में बातचीत करते थे, जब चाय पे इकट्ठे होते थे, कैंटीन में बैठते थे, तो एक बड़ी निराशा थी इनके मन में। ये एकदम फैसला नहीं हुआ है, बहुत लंबे समय से एक निराशता में से निकल रहे थे ये सांसद। हमारी बातें होती थी, वो जो करना चाहते थे, जिस कारण वो राजनीति में आए थे, राज्यसभा में पहुंचे थे, वो कर नहीं पा रहे थे, उनको मौका नहीं मिल रहा था। और मुझे लगता है कि अब भारतीय जनता पार्टी के मंच से उनको पंजाब की बात रखने का मौका मिलेगा, और सिर्फ बात रखने का ही मौका नहीं मिलेगा, वहाँ से पंजाब के लिए बहुत कुछ लेकर आ सकते हैं।
बड़ी हलचल खास तौर पर देखने को मिल रही है पिछले 24 घंटों में। कयास लगाए जा रहे हैं कि 43 आम आदमी पार्टी के जो एमएलए हैं पंजाब में, वो राघव चड्ढा के साथ आएंगे और वो भाजपा में विलय करेंगे। क्या इस तरह की जानकारी, इस तरह की कुछ आंकड़े या कुछ स्पेकुलेशन इस तरह की हैं क्या?
जैसे देखिए, ऐसा है, मुझे इसकी तो जानकारी नहीं है, लेकिन जैसे जैसे जिसकी ज़मीर जाग रही है वो सही फैसले करेगा।
And now, viewers, Swati Maliwal, who's one of the defected MPs to BJP, has praised Prime Minister Narendra Modi. She calls AAP Supremo Arvind Kejriwal as anti-women and a corrupt politician. Now, joining BJP because I have faith in the party is what Swati Maliwal is saying. She also calls the Prime Minister a global leader and not joining BJP out of fear or compulsion. She said, and I quote her here, I gave 2 years to Kejriwal to improve, but I wasn't given a chance to speak in the past 2 years. Now that's the statement coming in from Swati Maliwal, who has switched sides from AAP to BJP. Let's take a listen.
मैंने आम आदमी पार्टी छोड़ दी है और भाजपा ज्वाइन कर ली है। 2006 से मैं अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के साथ काम कर रही थी। अपना घर छोड़ा, नौकरी छोड़ी, 7 साल झुग्गियों में रही और हर आंदोलन में मैंने उनका साथ दिया। लेकिन अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने अपने ही घर में मुझे एक गुंडे से बुरी तरीके से पिटवाया। जब मैंने इसके खिलाफ आवाज़ उठाई, FIR दर्ज करने की कोशिश की, तो मुझको डराया गया और धमकाया गया। यहाँ तक
का उभरने का प्रयास कर रहे थे। उन्होंने दिल्ली के जनता से अलग अलग तरह के वादे करे थे। They tried to come as a fresh of breath air, but they proved to be an old wine in a new bottle. अन्ना आंदोलन की उपज थे, लेकिन बाद में इन्होंने माननीय अन्ना जी के साथ ही धोखाधड़ी कर दी। इनके जितने भी संस्थापक थे, आज इनके साथ एक भी साथ नहीं चल रहा है। इन्होंने अपने बहुत घनिष्ठ मित्रों के साथ ही विश्वासघात कर दिया। और आप देख रहे होंगे कि इनके पूरे पर्सोना में माननीय केजरीवाल जी और आम आदमी पार्टी का नेतृत्व हमेशा एक कॉमन मैन, एक सामान्य व्यक्ति का व्यक्तित्व धारण करने का प्रयास करता है। लेकिन दिल्ली की जनता इनकी सच्चाई समझ गई है। दिल्ली की जनता के आगे इनकी नौटंकी चली नहीं, और इसीलिए दिल्ली के देवतुल्य मतदाता ने आम आदमी पार्टी और केजरीवाल जी को अस्वीकार करा और एक पूर्ण बहुमत का जनादेश यहां पर भारतीय जनता पार्टी के पक्ष में दिया, विकास के पक्ष में दिया, क्योंकि दिल्ली का देवतुल्य मतदाता भी चाहता था कि दिल्ली प्रगति के पथ पर अग्रसर हो। केजरीवाल जी से मैं ये पूछना चाहती हूं कि आप जो हैं, आप वो एक आवरण क्यों धारण करते हैं? जो सच्चाई है वो लोगों के सामने पेश करिए ना। देखिए, एक तरफ तो आपने देखा होगा सर्दियों में वो उनका बहुत ही फेमस मफलर आ जाता है, चुनाव से एकदम पहले उनकी वो खांसी लौट आती है। आपने देखा होगा कि वो बहुत सामान्य तरह ड्रेस होते हैं, लेकिन ये लिबास जो है ये केवल और केवल भ्रम करने का एक उपकरण है। असलियत में हम सब जान गए हैं कि कोविड के समय जब दिल्ली की जनता को अपने मुख्यमंत्री केजरीवाल जी की सबसे ज्यादा जरूरत थी, तब वो दिल्ली की जनता का पैसा, दिल्ली के टैक्स पेयर्स का पैसा अपना आलीशान शीश महल बनाने में लगे हुए थे। उसके बाद जब वो चुनाव हार गए तो वो जाकर पंजाब में रहने लगे और वहां पर उन्होंने सरकारी पैसे का दुरुपयोग करा अपनी शान के लिए, अपनी ठाट के लिए। ये बात जग जाहिर है। आप मुझे एक बात बताइए कि जितने भी हेलीकॉप्टर या प्लेन या कोई भी इस प्रकार का उपकरण अगर एक सरकार के पास है तो वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल फंक्शनरी के लिए है, वो उस प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री के लिए है, ना कि केजरीवाल जी सरकारी खर्चे पे, वो भी पंजाब के टैक्स पेयर के खर्चे पे पूरा का पूरा भारत भ्रमण कर रहे थे और कभी उसको बहाना बना देते थे इलेक्शन कैंपेन का। और अब जब वो ना विधायक थे ना मुख्यमंत्री थे, तो भी उन्होंने ये कहा और दिखा भी दिया अपने कॉन्डक्ट से, वो लुटियंस के सरकारी बंगलों में रहे, अपने तत्कालीन राज्यसभा के सदस्य के घर में। अब मैं दोगलापन क्यों कह रही हूं? क्योंकि ये वो नेता है जिन्होंने बड़े बड़े दावे करे थे। इन्होंने दिल्ली की जनता से कहा था मैं सरकारी गाड़ी नहीं लूंगा, इन्होंने सरकारी गाड़ी ली। इन्होंने ये कहा कि कभी भी मैं सरकारी बंगला नहीं लूंगा, सरकारी बंगले में रही नहीं बल्कि कचहरी तक जाकर सरकार से ये मांग करी कि आप मुझे एक सरकारी बंगला दीजिए। इन्होंने अपने बच्चों की कसम खाई, लेकिन ऐसा लग रहा है कि केवल बच्चों की झूठी कसम नहीं खाई, इन्होंने न जाने कितने अनगिनत झूठे वादे करे देश की और दिल्ली की जनता के साथ। मुद्दा लग्जरी में रहने अकेले का नहीं है, मुद्दा दो तरह का है। पहला मुद्दा है जो शीश महल इन्होंने बनाया था सरकारी पैसे का दुरुपयोग कर टैक्स पेयर को ठग कर। दूसरा मुद्दा है दोगुली राजनीति, डबल स्टैंडर्ड्स। इट्स अ क्वेश्चन ऑफ डिसेप्शन एंड डबल स्टैंडर्ड्स ऑफ माननीय केजरीवाल जी एज वेल एज द आम आदमी पार्टी। और यहां पर इनकी धोखाधड़ी और ज्यादा सामने आ जाती है। हाल ही में आपने देखा कि किस तरह इन्होंने दिल्ली की जुडिशरी की एक महिला जज पर इतने आक्षेप करे, इस प्रकार के व्यक्तिगत प्रहार करे कि इन्होंने उनको भी प्रेशराइज करने का प्रयास करा। नारी विरोधी तो ये है ही। अभी जो संशोधन आया था नारी शक्ति वंदन अधिनियम का संशोधन, उसमें भी आम आदमी पार्टी ने एब्स्टेन नहीं करा मित्रों, उन्होंने लाल बटन दबाकर मुखालफत करी। अगर आप पूरा का पूरा वो पैटर्न देखेंगे वोटिंग का, तो लाल बटन दबाकर उन्होंने मुखालफत करी। यानी ये केवल ये चाहते थे कि महिलाओं की भूमिका मतदान केंद्र तक सीमित रह जाए। महिलाओं की भूमिका जब सत्ता में भागीदारी की बात आई तो इन्होंने अपनी जिम्मेदारी से मुंह मोड़ लिया।
प्यास बुझाए ठंडक लाए सबको भाई जीरा से MTH का जलजीरा जीरा से।
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
MTH
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
The Indian Air Force is giving its old MiG-29 fighter jets a powerful new weapon from Britain that turns them into modern fighters ready for today's battles. MiG-29s first came to India in the 1980s, have flown many missions along the tough borders with China and Pakistan. Now they are getting equipped with British ASRAAM missiles that make them as strong as NATO planes in close fights. The Ministry of Defense sent out a request for proposals to fit the Advanced Short-Range Air-to-Air Missile on the MiG-29 UPG version. This British missile from the company MBDA replaces the old Russian R-73 that pilots used for years. The R-73 could only reach targets 10 to 15 kilometers away, which forced pilots to fly too close to the enemy and take big risks. The ASRAAM changes all that. It can hit targets more than 25 kilometers away, almost double the old range. It flies at Mach 3 speed and uses a smart infrared seeker that ignores enemy flares and jamming better than before. The Indian Air Force flies more than 55 of these MiG-29 UPG jets in frontline squadrons. These planes guard the northern and western borders day and night. Earlier upgrades added new radars, engines, and digital cockpits, but the short-range missiles stayed old. Now the ASRAAM brings fire-and-forget technology. Once the pilot locks on and fires, the missile finds the target on its own, even if the jet turns away to dodge enemy fire. It also works with helmet-mounted displays, so the pilot can just look at the enemy plane through the visor and the missile follows the eyes. This
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट,
स्वाद बढ़ाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है? स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और फरसान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
Character, the taste of success.
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता, उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ।
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
The Indian Air Force is giving its old MiG-29 fighter jets a powerful new weapon from Britain that turns them into modern fighters ready for today's battles. MiG-29s first came to India in the 1980s, have flown many missions along the tough borders with China and Pakistan. Now they are getting equipped with British ASRAAM missiles that make them as strong as NATO planes in close fights. The Ministry of Defense sent out a request for proposals to fit the Advanced Short-Range Air-to-Air Missile on the MiG-29 UPG version. This British missile from the company MBDA replaces the old Russian R-73 that pilots used for years. The R-73 could only reach targets 10 to 15 kilometers away, which forced pilots to fly too close to the enemy and take big risks. The ASRAAM changes all that. It can hit targets more than 25 kilometers away, almost double the old range. It flies at Mach 3 speed and uses a smart infrared seeker that ignores enemy flares and jamming better than before. The Indian Air Force flies more than 55 of these MiG-29 UPG jets in frontline squadrons. These planes guard the northern and western borders day and night. Earlier upgrades added new radars, engines, and digital cockpits, but the short-range missiles stayed old. Now the ASRAAM brings fire-and-forget technology. Once the pilot locks on and fires, the missile finds the target on its own, even if the jet turns away to dodge enemy fire. It also works with helmet-mounted displays, so the pilot can just look at the enemy plane through the visor and the missile follows the eyes. This high off-bore sight ability lets the jet attack from strange angles without turning the whole plane first. This upgrade matters a lot because the region stays tense. Pakistan flies JF-17 jets with modern PL-10 missiles that reach farther and lock on quicker. China uses even better systems on its J-20 stealth fighters and other planes. In a real dogfight, the old MiG-29 with R-73 could lose the first shot. With ASRAAM, the Indian pilots get longer reach, faster lock, and higher chance to survive. The missile also works well against low-flying drones that are hard to see on radar. Many experts see drone swarms as the new big threat in air wars, and this upgrade gives the MiG-29 a strong
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मम्मा क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा सबका राजा आरती और मसाला।
Character, the taste of success.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
The Indian Air Force is giving its old MiG-29 fighter jets a powerful new weapon from Britain that turns them into modern fighters ready for today's battles. MiG-29s first came to India in the 1980s, have flown many missions along the tough borders with China and Pakistan. Now they are getting equipped with British ASRAAM missiles that make them as strong as NATO planes in close fights. The Ministry of Defense sent out a request for proposals to fit the Advanced Short-Range Air-to-Air Missile on the MiG-29 UPG version. This British missile from the company MBDA replaces the old Russian R-73 that pilots used for years. The R-73 could only reach targets 10 to 15 kilometers away, which forced pilots to fly too close to the enemy and take big risks. The ASRAAM changes all that. It can hit targets more than 25 kilometers away, almost double the old range. It flies at Mach 3 speed and uses a smart infrared seeker that ignores enemy flares and jamming better than before.
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
The Indian Air Force is giving its old MiG-29 fighter jets a powerful new weapon from Britain that turns them into modern fighters ready for today's battles. MiG-29s first came to India in the 1980s, have flown many missions along the tough borders with China and Pakistan. Now they are getting equipped with British ASRAAM missiles that make them as strong as NATO planes in close fights. The Ministry of Defense sent out a request for proposals to fit the Advanced Short-Range Air-to-Air Missile on the MiG-29 UPG version. This British missile from the company MBDA replaces the old Russian R-73 that pilots used for years. The R-73 could only reach targets 10 to 15 kilometers away, which forced pilots to fly too close to the enemy and take big risks. The ASRAAM changes all that. It can hit targets more than 25 kilometers away, almost double the old range. It flies at Mach 3 speed and uses a smart infrared seeker that ignores enemy flares and jamming better than before. The Indian Air Force flies more than 55 of these MiG-29 UPG jets in frontline squadrons. These planes guard the...
This week on Get Me Right, beholden to global capital and private equity, does corporate India embrace Euro-American ESG and DEI guidelines, jettisoning Indian social mores, thus leading to episodes like the TCS Nashik story and Lenskart. Also, with the UAE in need of a currency swap with the United States and Oman announcing private income tax for the first time, are Gulf nations looking at long-term economic mess as a fallout of the Iran war? And finally, the why and how of Pakistan proving to be an unreliable mediator, complicating things rather than solving during the Iran-United States talks in Islamabad. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, only on Republic TV.
प्यास बुझाए ठंडक लाए सबको भाए जीरा से MTH का जल जीरा जीरा से
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
The Indian Air Force is giving its old MiG-29 fighter jets a powerful new weapon from Britain that turns them into modern fighters ready for today's battles. MiG-29s first came to India in the 1980s, have flown many missions along the tough borders with China and Pakistan. Now they are getting equipped with British ASRAAM missiles that make them as strong as NATO planes in close fights. The Ministry of Defense sent out a request for proposals to fit the Advanced Short-Range Air-to-Air Missile on the MiG-29 UPG version. This British missile from the company MBDA replaces the old Russian R-73 that pilots used for years. The R-73 could only reach targets 10 to 15 kilometers away, which forced pilots to fly too close to the enemy and take big risks. The ASRAAM changes all that. It can hit targets more than 25 kilometers away, almost double the old range. It flies at Mach 3 speed and uses a smart infrared seeker that ignores enemy flares and jamming better than before. The Indian Air Force flies more than 55 of these MiG-29 UPG jets in frontline squadrons. These planes guard the northern and western borders day and night. Earlier upgrades added new radars, engines, and digital cockpits, but the short-range missiles stayed on.
Welcome, friends. We have heard this idea or conception of a philosopher king, but have you heard of a philosopher general or a philosopher soldier? It's a rarity. And in fact, today we are going to have a conversation, a freewheeling conversation with one such philosopher general. With us is 28th Chief of Army Staff of India, General Manoj Mukund Naravne. He was in fact the chief when India had its Galwan clash with China, when the Chinese came in and were pushed back with a lesson that they would perhaps not forget anytime soon. General Naravne was the Chief of Army Staff at that time. Since then, he has retired. And after retiring from the forces, he took to writing. With us, General Naravne. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, and very kind of you to give me this opportunity to talk about my latest book, The Curious and the Classified. And I've enjoyed writing it, and I hope everyone enjoys reading it too.
So let's introduce the book. In this conversation, I'm joined in by my colleague Alisha also, Alisha Nair in this. And General Naravne, the book is called The Curious and the Classified, Unearthing Military Myths and Mysteries. Before we get into the book, I actually want to understand what made you take to writing, because generally the idea that we have of our armed forces and the soldiers and the officers is that they would rather not want to talk about what they do, because there are multiple layers of need-based secrecy requirements. So what made you think of taking to paper and pen and writing?
Well, it's not that I started writing just after retirement. Earlier, when I was a major, a colonel, that time I did write a couple of short stories. But then, of course, that went into the background as I started climbing higher in the army hierarchy. So it's only after retirement that I could again devote some time to writing. But some ideas were always there in my mind. So in fact, the first book I wrote, which was a murder mystery, that thought was always in my mind, how to go about it, the overall plot and things. So when people ask me that how long did it take you to write that book, I said about 3 months. because
you were prepared.
Because it was just putting the pen to paper, translating those thoughts. So it didn't actually take very long. Of course, this book had to be researched much more in detail, and it's taken almost a year. So the timelines differ, but I've always been fond of reading and fond of writing. So it was a very natural transition from a soldier to a storyteller.
So what's this book about?
So Before I say what the book is about, I think I should also say a few words of where I got the idea from.
Yes.
Which I mentioned in the introduction, that I was at a friend's house when I happened to look at Shashi Tharoor's book, A Wonderland of Words. It was a party, so I couldn't really see it too much, but I just glanced at a few pages. And one of those was the chapter on backronyms, that is SOS. How it did not really stand for anything. It was just a distress signal. And later on, people gave words to those letters. So sort of a reverse engineering. And SOS became Save Our Souls or Save Our Ships. So the moment I heard that, the first thought which came to my mind is we have so many backronyms in the army. So why can't I write a book on army? Not just backronym, but army anecdotes of this kind, just like in that wonderland of words, different aspects of the English language are being elucidated upon and explained, in a quite humorous manner. Why not do something in that same vein? And that thought which had come to my mind was MHOW, Mao. Yeah. Mao is actually a very big army cantonment near Indore.
Yes.
But people very often confuse it with military headquarters of war, which is all bunkum. It was never a headquarters of war.
It's not?
No, not at all. The headquarters in British times was in Shimla.
Right.
That is where the commander-in-chief controlled everything right from Afghanistan to Burma.
Right.
But there used to be a garrison at Mao.
Right.
So and since there is so much army at Mao, it's quite possible that that is why it's called myths and mysteries.
But is it, for example, good that you clarified about Mao, and it's there in the book. But I thought Thoise is actually an acronym. Thoise for in Ladakh, which is the halt of Indian soldier en route to Siachen? Or is it also made up?
That is also made up. Thoise was always Thoise. So, we have fertile imaginations.
But it falls in place so beautifully.
Yes, it falls in place.
Like in the case of Mao, so in the case of Thoise.
Thoise. Even officers' mess, MESS, people say that is members of equal social status. Because in the mess, you're supposed to leave your ranks aside. You're just mess members.
Yeah.
But again, that is a backronym. So many backronyms in the army. But that was why I thought, why not write a book on such unknown facets about the armed forces, not just the army, but even the Air Force and the Navy.
Yeah.
And that is when I went about. So I had 8-10 ideas which came straight away to my mind, but then I had to research more and more ideas. And I got further inspired, because when I was telling about these ideas to my army friends and my colleagues, they were looking at me with wonderment. That we've never heard of this. I said, how have you not heard of it? You've spent 30 years in the army, you've not heard of Badlu Ram? They said, no. As you've not heard of this, not heard. This is very strange. So if army people don't know about army stories, then the larger population will be totally unaware that such quaint stories are there about the armed forces.
Yeah.
So that further inspired me, and the end result is this book.
So since I'm talking to a Fauji, there is a battalion strength of questions in my mind, but I'll let Alisha get in.
I just wanted to know your defining moment or the experience that you thought that, okay, this story should be told to the people.
See, each story actually has its roots in military history. So it's not just a story. It is in some way or the other linked to the army and our past. So it is also a way of informing the people of our rich cultural history and connecting the past to the present. And wherever I was part of that history, I also make brief appearances in the book. So that was the idea.
In fact, the first chapter, General Naravne, is called, or the section actually, is called The Grammar of Uniform. Now, as we understand, and we have spent some time in our profession, every profession has its grammar. So the doctors would have their own grammar and jargon, and we journalists have our own. So when you begin with the grammar of uniform, what goes into it?
So as you said, every organization has its own ethos and culture, which you often take for granted. In fact, just when I was coming here, Alisha rang up and asked me, what is ETA? Estimated time of arrival, I think everyone knows what ETA stands for. But sometimes these things take you by surprise. So, as I said, the idea was also to talk about the armed forces through the chapters of this book, and the doubts that people have. Some of them probably would get removed.
Yeah. So one such interesting anecdote that I found while going through your book, sir, is about Commander Kumar, who was from the Navy, and he was at a training center where there was a system of making calls. I believe this must have been much before mobile phones came in, and so when he would ask for a phone to be connected, call to be connected, he would be immediately patched. And while in training, he became a captain, of course, in the Navy, and that's a promotion. But then in the army scheme of things, that was sort of a demotion in terms of designation. So that's an interesting anecdote you bring out. What is exactly that you are communicating? That this is something which is a novelty, of course, for the people outside of the forces. But is it difficult to understand even within the forces?
You've mentioned that it's probably in an older era. So sometimes while reading the stories, you'll be able to place me and my vintage, which era I come from.
Yeah.
The pre-mobile era, the pre-telephone in every house era, where you were forced to go to only one phone in probably a block of, where the officers' quarters were, and you had to patch your calls through the telephone operator. And that is whom you asked. You had to identify yourself and then ask who you want to be put through. So obviously when this officer, and it's a true story, we were doing the course together when this happened.
Yeah.
So of course names changed. So a commander, lieutenant commander is commander. So in army or the operator's mind, commander means brigade commander. That is a brigadier, which is even senior to colonel.
Right.
So obviously he got the priority in all these calls. But when he became a captain, which is the equivalent of colonel, but captain in the army is much junior to a colonel. So obviously from the operator's mind, he was commander and now captain.
Yeah.
Much, 4-5 rungs down. So obviously he got lower priority. So then I'd asked him, even when he was narrating the story, I asked him that, then how did you overcome this problem? He said, nothing, I started calling myself colonel. Because that is the equivalent.
And that's all the problem.
That's all the problem.
Yeah.
And that is what we are trying now, to have synergy between the armed forces. I think that is the first example of that synergy.
Yeah. And interestingly, you also mentioned about how, while a major is senior to a lieutenant, but when you become senior actually, the major general is below the lieutenant general.
That's right. So the army ranks are quite confusing. And even in the Air Force or Navy also those confusions persist. So to this there are the various theories as to why a major general is junior to a lieutenant general. So one theory is that the highest enlisted rank used to be that of a sergeant major. And then the first commissioned rank was the lieutenant or second lieutenant. So therefore, when these went up the ladder, it became major general and lieutenant general.
Yeah.
So therefore, the major general became junior and the lieutenant general was the senior rank. The other theory is that a lieutenant is always a second. That's why you have a governor, you have a lieutenant governor. Or you have the number 2. And lieutenant itself draws its origins from in lieu.
Yeah.
So lieutenant.
Yeah.
Somebody tenanting an appointment in lieu of the main chap.
Right.
So if you go by that theory, therefore it was lieutenant general or general, the chief, and the lieutenant general below him who was the in lieu.
Right.
Or the number 2 in that seniority, and after that came the major general.
Yeah.
So both theories are equally plausible, and therefore the title is Military Myths and Mysteries.
Yeah, but I'm
so
surprised
is it
that
really
as a general, as a soldier, as an officer of the army, you had the thought of going into the etymology of these words, the roots, etc., which is something not associated with a soldier, but more like a lecturer or a professor of English?
No, absolutely not. You'll be surprised at the amount of studies we have to do in the army. In every course we do, we have to submit a dissertation.
Really?
Yes.
We always think that army is just about going in the field and shooting.
Yes, unfortunately.
But adding to this, I also wanted to ask, like while writing, do you ever feel the tension between the honesty and the discretion?
Well, not really. In a book of fiction, you can write whatever you want. If you question, you can just say it's fiction. So there is no sort of contradiction or no tension on that account. But I was mentioning that, and that a lot of our viewers would think that army is all fun and games. The amount of studies you have to do in the army is phenomenal. For every rank, you have a promotion exam. You do a course almost every alternate year. You have to submit a dissertation, right from staff college, higher command, and you get, of course, your proper degrees and your MPhil, MSc in defense studies. And all that doesn't come without a properly researched and cited submission, which is peer-reviewed and reviewed by the directing staff, which I was also a directing staff at the Army War College.
Yeah.
So in that sense, the research didn't come. It was not too difficult, and we are taught also research methodology as part of our courses.
If you allow General Naravne to bring in some element of topicality, because you mentioned about Commander Kumar and how he, when he became a captain, he started calling himself a colonel so that he got little preferential treatment in the phone call. Because when you mention that anecdote, you say that this was perhaps the first example of tri-services synergy and interoperability, right?
Yes, that's right.
These are two words or two phrases used so much these days. And we are, in fact, perhaps just months away from theaterization of commands. And some of the work that's going to reflect in the theaterization was done when you were the chief. Do you think that the process has shaped up well and India should be confidently looking forward to theaterization of commands?
In fact, to get back to Alisha and what you asked, perhaps I've included that sentence with that in mind, that that is the flavor of the day, theaterization, tri-service synergy.
Yeah.
So it was a way of actually putting that point across, that it's time to actually get going on that front, which has been languishing from the time this incident occurred in 2004 to today, which is 2026. So therefore, there was definitely a need to. But I think, yes, the process of theaterization is well underway. It started during our time under the leadership of General Rawat.
Right.
We had made good progress. Of course, unfortunately, General Rawat passed away in that very horrible air crash.
Yeah.
And that was a setback to the entire process, because then it took a couple of months to appoint a new CDS. Then he would have taken some time to get into the nitty-gritty and restart that whole process.
Yeah.
But things are well underway, and we are hopeful that we should be able to see some concrete or positive steps forward on this theaterization process very soon.
Yeah.
But as I always said in various other lectures also, that it is not an on-off switch that you announce on 30th April and on 1st April you'll have theatres all over the place.
Yeah.
There will be a smooth transition from one system to the other, and that transition will also take a few years.
Yeah.
And the transition has to be done in such a manner that it should not happen that in the transition period, if there is a crisis,
right,
if there is a requirement in the transition period to do something like a Ops Sindoor, it will happen that nobody knows who I'm reporting to, who is my boss today, who is my boss tomorrow. So it is going to be a very smooth process, without hiccups, without upheavals, so that our operational capability is not diluted in any manner.
Coming back to the book, before I give it to Alisha, since we were on designations, is it true or is it just lore that the Fauji wives are one rank above their husbands?
The ladies are always senior, whether in the armed forces or otherwise.
Yeah. And is it like institutionalized?
No, it's just
a convention.
Not even a convention, just to hasi mazak mein.
Right,
yeah.
right. Alisha.
because after your interview only, there are many people who called me and just asked me about it. Like in army, there is an immediate decision that has to be taken. But writing a book is something demands reflection. So how do you adapt in all this in your mindset? Because this is something like people also asked me, like, did you not ask this sir about it? Because there was a quick decision that has to be taken when you are in your uniform. Now when you're writing a book, it demands a reflection.
No, see, situations are also, different types. Some require an immediate decision. So in our teaching training also, it is a group situation and the team. That is a triangle. So, and the leader. So it is not always that a leader has to take a decision quickly and without consultation with his team. It will depend on the situation. If time permits, you will have discussions, you will have conferences, you will decide which is the best course of action and then take a decision. But obviously, if the enemy is right in front, you can't say, oh, wait one, I'll just consult with my subordinates that should I fire or not. Then, of course, you have to immediately take the decision and hope for the best. So that is as when you're in service, in uniform and faced with a crisis. But when you're sitting in your study, reflecting and writing a book, then you have all the time in the world to delve deeply into a subject and choose every word carefully. As I said, that sentence, first example of interoperability was chosen with great meaning and to convey a message. So there are different situations.
I want to pick up on this question that Alicia asked about the interview she had with you earlier and the reflection part. So just digressing a bit before we come back to the book and cover the remaining sections. The book that remained unpublished, 4 Stars of Destiny, about which Alicia was asking you, what was going on in your mind when you decided to write the book and when were you writing?
It's a very good question because actually, I had no intention of writing a memoir or autobiography. So, in March of 23, there was a book launch on General Rawat's book, which had been penned by Rachna Bisht.
Yeah.
And that was also a publication by Penguin. So, after the launch, when we were having a cup of tea, I casually mentioned to that Penguin team that, aren't you going to publish my book? They said, if you write one, then they said, have you written one? I said, no. They said, write one first, then only can be published.
Yeah.
So that, it started off also as a jest. And it was not my intention to write a memoir or autobiography. So there were no notes. I was not that I was maintaining any diary from dates and events and who said what and when. So it's purely a recollection of events right from my childhood, my first memory to the time I retired. So that is how it actually came about, and therefore it is again quite free-flowing events and events as they happened, and my recollection of those events.
Right.
And my recollections of the events could be quite different from the recollection of the other person of the same event.
Right.
So if he says no, it didn't happen this way, he may be right, I may be wrong, but we have own way of looking at the same.
That's fairly possible. I believe you're mentioning about General Joshi's account, perhaps.
No, so many people, so you talk to so many people, you hear somebody, you may not have heard somebody's comment on a particular aspect. That person may say that, no, I did not say this, or I said this. So, but as I said, there are, in the hurly-burly of discussions, and discussions always take place. It's not that only in the armed forces, you have discussions in the boardroom also. In the boardroom also, so many people give their viewpoints if a decision is finally arrived at. And nobody is recording each of those comments that A said this and B said that and C disagreed. And that is how it...
Point taken that you were sort of recollecting some, your life in the force, in the service, and you were in a reflective mood when you sort of pen those thoughts. But when it comes to the portion on Galwan, the book remains unpublished, yet some parts came out and a certain spin has sought to be given. How do you disagree with that spin? Because one observation that I can make from whatever scrapes of the book I could read, lay my hands on, you come out as a little defensive. So were you sort of justifying some of the actions that you took as chief at that time?
No, see, Galwan has been written about extensively, much before I even started penning these thoughts. And as I mentioned, I had not maintained any diaries or anything. So when I was penning my thoughts, I was actually relying on the reportage that has already happened. And it is from there only I have drawn the particular event has happened on X date or Y date. I have drawn my data from what was already in the open domain. So there was no question of being defensive in any sort. But at the end of the day, I think the visual or the image which must remain in our minds is of the PLA dismantling their bunkers and going back. What greater victory can that be? PLA has never gone back anywhere, but we forced them to do that. Now, if that image is not seared in your mind and you do not believe that is a victory, then nothing else can convince you. There's no point trying to convince a non-believer, because he'll always remain a non-believer.
But then what would be your message to those people who are trying to give a certain different spin to it?
That have faith in your armed forces, have faith in your country. There is no harm in discussions. There is no harm in debate. You want to debate the defense budget, definitely debate the defense budget. It is supposed to be put up for consideration. But when such concrete evidence is there, physical evidence is there to see, then to not believe that is actually, as I said, no amount of convincing will convince.
No, but it's beyond that, sir. The spin, one is the spin in terms of the column writing that happened. The other is the spin with which it reached the Parliament of India. You think the kind of politicization that was sought to be given to that spin, because you're saying the account is different and the facts are different.
And adding to this, like as you were the chief of army staff, a straight question, sir, where you were given a free hand at that Galwan plan.
Yes, obviously, the military is always given a free hand to carry out operations, but free hand does not mean that you become a loose cannon. There are the free hand is given knowing and trusting and having full faith in the army and the people who are at the important positions in the army,
so
whether it is
that jo uchit samjhe wo karo was a free hand given.
Is a free hand, which is also a reflection on the faith that the government has in its armed forces.
And the politicization bit?
So that is best avoided. In fact, if there is one strength that we have, Bharat has, that is that our armed forces are apolitical, especially if you see the countries in our neighborhood and what is happening there. So on one hand, you say army or the armed forces are getting politicized. On the other hand, you try to get them into that, Rajnitikaran. So these things are, opposite ends of the spectrum. So it's best to keep the army apolitical, which does not mean that as individuals, that is as an organization, which does not mean that as individuals we can't exercise our democratic rights. I have got full right to attend a rally, but not in uniform. I have full rights to cast my vote for whichever party I want to. That is not politicization. Also, what is not understood is following orders of your superior is not politicization. If my army commander follows my orders, I am his superior. Who is my superior? My superior is the Raksha Mantri. So if he says to do something, I have to do it. I have taken an oath that I will follow my superior's orders. So that doesn't mean you're politicized.
That was the only order that was given to you. As you only mentioned that jo uchit samjho wo karo.
Over the course,
it is like I think it is not crystal clear
that is for a particular event. But as a chief, you will get so many orders. From the from the MOD, which is headed by the Raksha Mantri. So each order is to be implemented. Each order has been passed after due deliberation. It is. So once that order is given, it has to be implemented. But that doesn't mean you're politicized. You're following the chain of command. And that is what we are taught to do. So there is a distinction between following the chain of command and being politicized, which has to be very well understood.
So as a philosopher soldier, you are very measured. Would you still condemn this attempt at politicization?
Absolutely. Armed forces must be kept insulated from politics.
And you saw an attempt being made, shooting from your shoulders, so to say?
Which I didn't give.
All right, so on that note, I think I must commend you for your play of words, sir, and come back to the book. And, in your opening comments, you mentioned about the mess. And I have this anecdote to share. I had gone to the Mahajan range for covering a joint Indo-US exercise. And in the evening, we were at the mess. And the Colonel Saab, who was with us, he was in a Bermuda. So we just walked in. Maybe he was just having a conversation. We were deep in the conversation. We walked in and sat in the mess. And the Jawan, the batman who came there, I think there is a different word today for the batman, but when he came here, he said, "Sir, I will not serve you here if you are in Bermuda."
The steward.
Yeah, the steward. He said, "I will not serve you because you are in Bermuda." And then we had to go back to the room because in the mess there is a certain etiquette.
Dress code, yes.
So this insistence of being so prim and proper in the forces is ingrained even in mess. Like in the evening when you are just in a light banter mood, you just still can't be casual about it.
Yes, because the mess is your home away from home. So and certain standards have to be maintained. They can't be allowed to become a dhaba. After all, it is an institution by itself. And therefore these customs and traditions continue over time.
Yeah.
But changes are made. Olden days a tie was compulsory. Now a tie is no longer compulsory.
Yeah.
Just a shirt and trouser is good enough. Olden days you couldn't even come in a half-sleeved shirt. Now you can come in a half. So we have obviously changed with the times. But in changing with the times, the certain minimum standards and decorum is still maintained.
Right. Any anecdotes you remember from your days when you would go to the mess? One, of course, you recall was during your farewell, but before that.
Yes, but before that, since you mentioned about the Bermuda shorts, I remember on one occasion I had gone to a mess and asked for a drink, and the barman from below the bar took out one dirty-looking tie and said, "Sir, please ye pen lena." Very sheepishly, grimy, stained with God knows how many people must have worn that tie. So very sheepishly, then I wore that tie. Then only did he.
So even if you have to drink, you have to wear a tie.
In a tie.
But that brings me to the drink part also, because you have a chapter, in fact, called Rambash's Rum. And do bottle, teen glass. I mean, people would be curious to understand how come you, why can't you have 3 bottles, and what's the anecdote about?
So, do bottle, teen glass also has roots in your unit life where, if you had to apply for leave, the leave application goes through the adjutant to the second in command and turn to the commanding officer if it goes through the first 2, then the commanding officer signs it blindly that everybody has done their due diligence. So these become the 3 people, the officer applying for leave, the adjutant, who is a tough guy to get through, because he checks everything and no pending jobs against your name, there's that and the other. Then the 2IC does the same. So once the CO signs the leave, then the tradition was that the 3 officers would go to the mess and amongst the 3 share 2 bottles of beer. So it was a custom of sharing.
Right.
It's not that you can't afford to have your 3 bottles among 3 people.
Yeah.
So it was to highlight this practice of sharing and caring. And the 3 people would be of 3 different seniorities, obviously.
Yeah.
So it was also a way of breaking those strict hierarchical barriers which are there in an organization like the army. So that is how, this is the background to that. But I'm not sure it is followed so much anymore, because life has become much more fast-paced. I don't think now the luxury of having a relaxed glass of beer in the afternoons exists.
But that also means
anymore.
It's so difficult to get leave in the forces.
No,
छुट्टी मिलना बड़ा मुश्किल है.
No, मुश्किल तो नहीं है, but it was just a tradition. In fact, in those days which I'm talking about, we used to have 20 officers in the battalion. And CO used to want officers to go on leave. And out of the 20 officers, we had perhaps rooms only for 10 or 12. So we used to share 2 to a room, 3 to a room. So CO was happy if officers went on leave. But from 20 officers to a battalion, we are down to 11 or 9. So actually, it's become life has become much tougher today than when I had joined.
So when you mentioned about the changes, the evolution of mess culture also that has happened within army and other forces, we have seen recently a very organized attempt at Indianizing certain aspects of the Fauji life, from the dress code to the insignia. We have seen changes being made in the flags. You mentioned about Fort William earlier, now being called Vijaygarh. You think this is a move in the right direction? Vijayadurg, yes, Vijayadurg. So you think this is a move in the right direction?
So the saying is there that change is the only constant, and you have to change with the times. So there is nothing wrong in making these changes. I mentioned some of them, that how tie was compulsory, but in a climate such as ours, we have done away with it. So why not be comfortable when you're off duty? Even on duty, our uniforms have changed. They're no longer those heavy starched khakis. We have come down to terracottas. We have come down to porous, breathable material. So all these changes are always happening. But I should make the point that let us not give a colonial tint to each of these changes. These changes are because the circumstances today require that change. But to every time connect it backward to some colonial tradition or colonial past may not be the correct thing to do. It's being done because we feel it needs to be done, not because we want to do away with something.
Right. Alicia?
Definitely I want to ask if you want to add one more chapter or any other book, what it would be about now. Because I'm sure people are very curious to know about this book as well as the other which you might be thinking about it.
So before this, I'd written that murder mystery, which is the cantonment conspiracy, in which there are 2 young officers, Rohit and Renuka, in which, being a work of fiction, I took the liberty of sending Renuka to the infantry, because there are no girls in the infantry as of now. So that's why I said it's easy to write fiction. You don't have to justify it. So that book is also was well received, and now that I've finished this, I'm well into writing the sequel to that murder mystery.
Right.
The sequel in the sense that the hero, heroine are the same, but the mystery, of course, is different.
Right.
So hopefully next year we can have a talk again when that book is out.
On the part 2.
So since you mentioned a lady officer, and that it's a rarity, not there in infantry, but in the book, on page number 193, you are actually mentioning that the adjutant is the tougher nut to crack, as she has to be convinced that there are no odd jobs pending against the officer's name. This is in the context of giving leave. But I got curious that is this an interpolation by the editor that you're calling the adjutant she?
No, the adjutant can be anybody.
But do we have women officers in the forces? That many that you have?
Yes, of course. Women officers have been in the forces for many years now. They've been granted permanent commission, and they tenant all important appointments. In fact, we have lady officers, women officers now commanding battalions and regiments, signal regiments, engineer regiments. And in due course of time, they will also become brigadiers and major generals as their seniority, and as their batch comes up for that consideration. So there is nothing, and this is just to, in the name of gender equality.
Just a couple of more instances from the book. I speed read the book. And so, I have visited the memorial for INS Khukri in Div in Gujarat. And it just so happens that I heard it for the first time about INS Khukri and Captain Mullah from my father. Also, very interestingly, in very unconnected conversations about Casablanca and the boyhoods from the burning deck from my father. And you bring those 2 episodes together almost back to back in these pages. So I got a little nostalgic, but the fact that it's a story of bravery, though of course a tragedy also. Why not a movie on the INS Khukri episode?
Well, that's definitely a good idea. It can be made into a movie. If the sinking of the Titanic could be made into a movie, why not on the sinking of the INS Kukri? Set in the wartime scenario of the 71 war, the anti-submarine patrols that they had carried out and carried out successfully before this tragic incident. And of course the aftermath culminating in our grand victory. So all of it can definitely form part, go to make a very interesting film and perhaps a more realistic film than what is normally depicted by Bollywood.
Right. And, we cannot have a conversation on the armed forces, on army, and not talk about cantonment life. So I believe you have an entire section and chapter on the Mau cantonment, on Devlali where you were born, and the history behind Devlali, the fact that the likes of Dilip Kumar and Vinod Khanna have had a connection with Devlali. One curiosity that I have as a student of society and a journalist and observer is that how come the cantonments are so beautifully managed in the country, while the moment you come out of the cantonment, it's chaotic mess, and not an army mess.
To give a short answer to that, I think we have a sense of ownership wherever we go, that we believe this is our home, and our home has to be kept neat and clean. And whoever is the commander of that particular garrison, whether it is a small unit area or a big garrison like Fort William, the commander feels this is mine, and I have to make it more pristine than what it should be a better place when I leave than what it was when I took over. And that is what has made our cantonments grow and remain as oases in surrounded by chaos.
Yeah, but the fact that the cantonments have Sadar Bazaars attached, you mentioned about Lal Kurti. I had not heard about Lal Kurti. What is that?
So as I mentioned right in the beginning, many of these things people had not heard about. So that is what got me thinking about writing the book. So most cantonments, especially in North India, have these bazaars with these quaint names like Lal Kurti, Tofkhana Bazaar, Sadar Bazaar, as you just mentioned. So each of them has a small history behind it. So in British times, the soldiers used to wear a red tunic, and they were not, and from their camps and the garrisons, they used to go to the nearest market to buy daily essentials. So the market would be full of these red-coated people. So the locals started calling it Lal Kurti Bazaar, where red kurti fellows are visible. So that is how it became Lal Kurti. Now Lal Kurtis are there in Ambala, in Kanpur, in Meerut, in Jalandhar, so many cities all over, especially North India. But the civilian population going to those bazaars will probably not know this connection.
Yeah.
That's how it is again linked to history.
Right.
Same way the Tofkhana. So Tofkhana is artillery.
Yeah.
So where artillery units used to be stationed, and there would be big warehouses or stores that would house the ammunition. So Tofkhana. And again the bazaar which is closest to that artillery unit became the Tofkhana Bazaar.
Yeah.
So and so on. So that is how this is continuing, and we still have it, these markets today.
Absolutely. In fact, I remember buying some stuff, T-shirts, etc., from outside Srinagar cantonment and Badami Bagh and Ambala Cant. There's a huge market where you can buy fantastic boots which the soldiers wear and jackets and whatnot. And I believe your book, General Naravne, brings we as civilians much closer to the Fauji culture. And I would believe that those who watch this podcast with you and Alisha with me would perhaps get curious, as you say, and get a peep into the classified parts of the Fauji life and feel that much more confident, it's confidential, and attached to our armed forces who make this wonderful sacrifice, so to say, even when they serve so that we are safe.
On a closing note, the title was chosen as Curious and Classified. classified in the sense that none of these stories are known to the public. It's as if it was a secret, but it was not. It was very well in the open domain. Anybody who would have read or wanted to know about it could have read it. But the fact that nobody knew gave that impression that these are very secret matters, which is not so. And definitely by reading this book, the general public would get a better understanding of the armed forces and what makes us tick. And that is the important part. That was the aim plus of this book, actually.
Right. So, you know, General Naravne, you are a heady mix of a reticent soldier and a measured professor who knows how to play with words. And I believe still within that framework, we have had a good conversation, opened you up a bit, and I hope you also enjoyed this.
Yeah, of course, yes, enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you very much. Thank you, Alisha.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Alisha. Thank you so much. Thank you.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। अब बताओ स्वाद आया? आया।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा।
The Indian Air Force is giving its old MiG-29 fighter jets a powerful new weapon from Britain that turns them into modern fighters ready for today's battles. MiG-29s first came to India in the 1980s, have flown many missions along the tough borders with China and Pakistan. Now they are getting equipped with British ASRAAM missiles that make them as strong as NATO planes in close fights. The Ministry of Defense sent out a request for proposals to fit the Advanced Short-Range Air-to-Air Missile on the MiG-29 UPG version. This British missile from the company MBDA replaces the old Russian R-73 that pilots used for years. The R-73 could only reach targets 10 to 15 kilometers away, which forced pilots to fly too close to the enemy and take big risks. The ASRAAM changes all that. It can hit targets more than 25 kilometers away, almost double the old range. It flies at Mach 3 speed and uses a smart infrared seeker that ignores enemy flares and jamming better than before.
Breaking development now, Raghav Chadha has once again responded, and he says that Sheesh Mahal 2.0 is ready. Now remember, BJP raked up the issue. BJP talked about BJP spoke about Kejriwal's Sheesh Mahal 2.0, saying that it was being built continuously while Delhi was battling COVID. And now Raghav Chadha, the MP who just exited AAP and joined BJP, has said that Sheesh Mahal 2.0 is ready. In fact, listen in to now BJP MP Raghav Chadha.
देशभक्त आदमी जिसने आम आदमी पार्टी को अपने खून पसीने से सींचा और बड़ी उम्मीदों के साथ आम आदमी पार्टी से जुड़ा था, आज हर वो व्यक्ति या तो आम आदमी पार्टी को छोड़ चुका है या छोड़ रहा है। क्योंकि हर ईमानदार मेहनतकश आदमी को ये लगता है कि अब आम आदमी पार्टी में काम करने की जगह नहीं बची और आम आदमी पार्टी अब एक ऐसे गलत रास्ते पर चल रही है जिससे कोई अपना नाता नहीं रखना चाहता। इसी के चलते एक एक करके तमाम लीडर्स ने आम आदमी पार्टी को छोड़ दिया। बाबा साहब अंबेडकर द्वारा बनाया गया संविधान ये ताकत देता है, ये प्रावधान देता है चुने हुए सांसदों को कि यदि उन्हें ऐसा महसूस हो कि उनकी पार्टी करप्ट और कॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड हाथों में चली गई है या पार्टी गलत रास्ते पर जा रही है, तो वे अपनी पार्टी को त्याग सकते हैं, अधिकांश सांसद अगर चाहें, और उसके लिए 2/3 या 2/3 से ज्यादा की लिमिट तय करी गई। इस केस में 1 नहीं, 2 नहीं, 3 नहीं, 4 नहीं, 5 नहीं, 6 नहीं, 7 सांसद मिलकर आम आदमी पार्टी को त्याग रहे हैं, छोड़ रहे हैं, क्योंकि वे मानते हैं कि आम आदमी पार्टी करप्ट और कॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड हाथों में जा चुकी है। और जो लोग ये कह रहे हैं, खास तौर पे आम आदमी पार्टी के नेता, कि डर कर चले गए आम आदमी पार्टी छोड़कर, हम डर कर नहीं, डिसअपॉइंटेड महसूस कर कर गए आम आदमी पार्टी से। हम डर कर नहीं, डिसएंचेंटेड फील कर कर गए आम आदमी पार्टी से। हम डर कर नहीं, डिसगस्टेड फील कर कर गए आम आदमी पार्टी से। और दूसरी महत्वपूर्ण बात, आज दिल्ली में शीश महल पार्ट 2 बनकर आया है, कंस्ट्रक्ट हुआ है, और उसकी कुछ तस्वीरें सामने आई हैं। जब पहला वाला शीश महल बना था, उसकी वजह से मेरा यह मानना है कि आम आदमी पार्टी की छवि तार तार हुई थी। और अगर सबसे बड़ा कारण दिल्ली चुनाव हारने का कुछ था, आम आदमी पार्टी की हार का जो मुख्य कारण था, उसमें वो शीश महल था। लेकिन आज दिल्ली चुनाव समाप्त हुए 1 साल भी अभी पूरा नहीं हुआ और शीश महल पार्ट 2 बन के सामने आ गया और बड़ी आलीशान बना है, उसकी तस्वीरें कुछ सामने आई हैं। तो मुझे लगता है आम आदमी पार्टी को इन तमाम विषयों पर चिंतन करना चाहिए। और न जाने अब कैसे आम आदमी पार्टी के अभी भी जो बचे कुचे भले कार्यकर्ता रह गए हैं, वो कैसे जवाब देंगे गली मोहल्लों में लोगों से। जब लोग शीश महल के बारे में उनसे सवाल पूछेंगे, तो आम आदमी पार्टी को उस पर आत्मचिंतन करना चाहिए और उस पर विचार करना चाहिए।
Viewers, one of the hottest stories that's been ongoing since today morning, Sheesh Mahal 2.0, and now Raghav Chadha says that it has in fact been resurrected, and he also says that, the first one was the main reason why AAP lost its Delhi seat. For now, that's all that we could wrap in this edition of the News Bulletin. Moving on the other side, we're also bringing you the culmination of the Iranian delegation's talks that was led by Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi in Pakistan with the Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir. The talks have ended, and we're yet to understand what went in the indirect talks, the second round of truce that comes between the United States and Iran. Getting you this and a lot more on the other side.
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
केसरिया से मन जोगी देखो मतवारा हमारे, केसरिया से मन जोगी।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार, विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
प्यास बुझाए, ठंडक लाए, सबको भाए जीरा से, MTH का जलजीरा जीरा से।
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा। MTH।
The Indian Air Force is giving its old MiG-29 fighter jets a powerful new weapon from Britain that turns them into modern fighters ready for today's battles. MiG-29s first came to India in the 1980s, have flown many missions along the tough borders with China and Pakistan. Now they are getting equipped with British ASRAAM missiles that make them as strong as NATO planes in close fights. The Ministry of Defense sent out a request for proposals to fit the advanced short-range air-to-air missile on the MiG-29 UPG version. This British missile from the company MBDA replaces the old Russian R-73 that pilots used for years. The R-73 could only reach targets 10 to 15 kilometers away, which forced pilots to fly too close to the enemy and take big risks. The ASRAAM changes all that. It can hit targets more than 25 kilometers away, almost double the old range. It flies at Mach 3 speed and uses a smart infrared seeker that ignores enemy flares and jamming better than before.
Also on the other side, after Chadha breaks up, now sources say more than 60 Punjab MLAs are willing to back Raghav Chadha. Fresh claims of split also in AAP's Punjab unit. Getting you all the details on the other side. Stay tuned to Republic TV.
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला.
The Indian Air Force is giving its old MiG-29 fighter jets a powerful new weapon from Britain that turns them into modern fighters ready for today's battles. MiG-29s first came to India in the 1980s, have flown many missions along the tough borders with China and Pakistan. Now they are getting equipped with British ASRAAM missiles that make them as strong as NATO planes in close fights. The Ministry of Defense sent out a request for proposals to fit the Advanced Short-Range Air-to-Air Missile on the MiG-29 UPG version. This British missile from the company MBDA replaces the old Russian R-73 that pilots used for years. The R-73 could only reach targets 10 to 15 kilometers away, which forced pilots to fly too close to the enemy and take big risks.
PM on the verdict 2026 with me, Gesu Bharadwaj. We decode the BJP's push for Bengal's second phase as Yogi Adityanath continues campaigning for the Bharatiya Janata Party. And also, Himanta Biswa Sarma, the Assam Chief Minister, says that TMC's time in Bengal is now up. In fact, we will also look at the all-time high voter turnout in Tamil Nadu and decode all the details about that, as ECI now says that no exit polls will be recorded until polling ends in all states. This and a lot more at 6 p.m. today.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट
स्वाद बढ़ाए चमकी चाट.
क्या बात है स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और परेशान अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान.
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट.
हनी इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं.
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा. रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना.
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं. रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात. वाओ मम्मा क्या स्वाद है. अरे मेरे राजा सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला.
The Indian Air Force is giving its old MiG-29 fighter jets a powerful new weapon from Britain that turns them into modern fighters ready for today's battles. MiG-29s first came to India in the 1980s.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ.
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट. ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े.
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे. केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार. विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी.
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला. Delicious, healthy, every day.
The Indian Air Force is giving its old MiG-29 fighter jets a powerful new weapon from Britain that turns them into modern fighters ready for today's battles. MiG-29s first came to India in the 1980s, have flown many missions along the tough borders with China and Pakistan. Now they are getting equipped with British ASRAAM missiles that make them as strong as NATO planes in close fights. The Ministry of Defense sent out a request for proposals to fit the Advanced Short-Range Air-to-Air Missile on the MiG-29 UPG version. This British missile from the company MBDA replaces the old Russian R-73 that pilots used for years. The R-73 could only reach targets 10 to 15 kilometers away, which forced pilots to fly too close to the enemy and take big risks. The ASRAAM changes all that. It can hit targets more than 25 kilometers away, almost double the old range. It flies at Mach 3 speed and uses a smart infrared seeker that ignores enemy flares and jamming better than before. The Indian Air Force flies more than 55 of these MiG-29 UPG jets in frontline squadrons. These planes guard the northern and western borders day and night. Earlier upgrades added new radars, engines, and digital cockpits, but the short-range missiles stayed old. Now the ASRAAM brings fire-and-forget technology. Once the pilot locks on and fires, the missile finds the target on its own, even if the jet turns away to dodge enemy fire. It also works with helmet-mounted displays, so the pilot can just look at the enemy plane through the visor and the missile follows the eyes. This high off-bore sight ability lets the jet attack from strange angles without turning the whole plane first. This upgrade matters a lot because the region stays tense. Pakistan flies JF-17 jets with modern PL-10 missiles that reach farther and lock on quicker. China uses even better systems on its J-20 stealth fighters and other planes. In a real dogfight, the old MiG-29 with R-73
Very warm welcome. You're watching Republic TV. I'm Yesu Bharadwaj, and viewers quickly cutting across to Priyanka Kakkar, the AAP spokesperson who's taking a jibe at Raghav Chadha and also the BJP Sheesh Mahal 2.0 claims. Listen in.
धन्यवाद। सवाल है कि आज प्रवेश वर्मा ने प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस कर रहे थे तो उन्होंने केजरीवाल के खिलाफ रहमान टगैत का शब्द उपयोग किया था, उस पर आप क्या कहेंगे? देखिए, ये भाजपा की जो नॉर्मल स्पीकिंग कल्चर है, जो उनकी लैंग्वेज है, ये वही शब्दावली का उन्होंने प्रयोग किया। बीजेपी इज डिवॉइड ऑफ एनी इंटेलेक्ट, बीजेपी इज डिवॉइड ऑफ एनी कॉन्शियंस, इट इज डिवॉइड ऑफ एनी मेरिट and it is currently running only on lies, only on scams, only on corruption. ये भाजपा का चरित्र है।
प्रियंका, राघव चड्ढा बीजेपी ज्वाइन करने के बाद पहली बार मीडिया से मुखातिब हुए। उन्होंने कहा कि हम डर कर नहीं गए हैं, डिस्कस्टेड फील करके गए हैं, करप्ट और कॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड हाथों में आम आदमी पार्टी जा चुकी है। कई तरह के तमाम आरोप राघव चड्ढा ने लगाए।
तो उनको अब सेफ बीजेपी में लगता है, वो उनकी आइडियोलॉजी हो गई। वो भाजपा जो पंजाब में किसानों जिस भाजपा की वजह से 750 किसानों की शहादत हुई, जिस भाजपा की वजह से भाजपा के लोगों ने किसानों के बच्चों के ऊपर जीप चला दी, ऐसी भाजपा में जाकर वो सेफ एंड सिक्योर फील कर रहे हैं। पंजाब के लोगों को धोखा दिया है राघव चड्ढा ने। राघव चड्ढा, I'll say truthfully, has exhibited a very spineless and uncultured behavior. मैम, विक्रमजीत साहनी ने एक इंटरव्यू दिया है, उन्होंने ये कहा कि आम आदमी पार्टी के पास पंजाब के लिए कोई विजन नहीं है, वो सिर्फ 27 की चिंता में है। और उन्होंने ये भी कहा है कि ये जो आप सुप्रीम कोर्ट जाए, हाई कोर्ट जाए, जहाँ भी जाए, हमने अपना फैसला ले लिया और हम बीजेपी के साथ विलय कर लेंगे। देखिए, मुझे लगता है कि जो भी पंजाब पे ग्राउंड पे जुड़ा है वो जानता होगा कि किस तरह से बीजेपी और कांग्रेस ने मिलके, पुरानी सरकारों ने मिलके पंजाब की ऐसी हालत कर दी कि उड़ता पंजाब जैसी मूवीज बनती थी। मुझे लगता है कि जो भी ग्राउंड पे वहां पे कनेक्टेड होगा वो देखेगा किस तरह से भगवंत मान जी की सरकार ने वहां पर युद्ध नशे के विरुद्ध जैसी स्कीम शुरू की, कैसे 50,000 से ज्यादा अरेस्ट किए, किस तरह से एक 10 लाख रुपए की हेल्थ स्कीम दी जो हर घर को 65 लाख घरों को बेनिफिट दे रही है, कैसे वहां पर सरकारी नौकरियां दी गई जो भाजपा काल में कहीं भी पूरे देश में नहीं हुआ, कैसे वहां पर दी गई। तो मुझे लगता है कि एनीबडी हु इज कनेक्टेड विद द ग्राउंड देयर नोज जिस तरह का आम आदमी पार्टी ने वहां काम किया है, चाहे 300 यूनिट फ्री बिजली हर घर को देना, 90% पंजाब का बिजली का बिल नहीं आता, ये सारे काम जो आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार ने दिल्ली में किए थे, चाहे महिलाओं को फ्री बस यात्रा देना, वो सारे काम शिक्षा रिलेटेड, हेल्थ रिलेटेड पंजाब में किए हैं। और पंजाब को रंगला पंजाब बनाने का हमारा मिशन भगवंत मान सरकार जी के अंडर कंटिन्यूड है।
मेरा एक सवाल रहेगा कि दिल्ली में शीश महल को लेके दिल्ली सरकार चलेगी आम आदमी पार्टी की, अब शीश महल 2 आ गया, ये प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस हुई है, ऐसा तो नहीं कि पंजाब को भी शीश महल 2 के साथ कर दिया जाए?
मुझे लगता है कि लोग बहुत स्मार्ट हैं, लोगों की स्मार्टनेस को आपको कम नहीं आंकना चाहिए। लोगों ने देखा कि किस तरह से एक झूठा मुकदमा अरविंद केजरीवाल जी, मनीष सिसोदिया जी, सत्येंद्र जैन जी, संजय सिंह जी के ऊपर बनाया गया, उनको जेल डाला गया, वो झुके नहीं, टूटे नहीं। उसके बाद जब वो छूट गए तो कोर्ट ने कैसी टिप्पणियां की कि सीबीआई तोते की तरह काम करती है, कि ईडी ने द्वेष की भावना से काम किया, कि अरविंद केजरीवाल और अन्य नेताओं के खिलाफ कोई आरोप नहीं निकला, कोई रिकवरी नहीं हुई क्योंकि कुछ किया नहीं। और फिर ये भी कहा कि जो समन्स ईडी ने भेजे वो इलीगल थे, जो अरेस्ट हुए इन नेताओं के वो सब इलीगल थे। उसके बाद आपने देखा होगा हाल ही में कोर्ट ने ये भी कहा कि इन सबको डिस्चार्ज किया जाता है क्योंकि जो भी प्रमाण इन भाजपा की एजेंसीज ने कोर्ट के आगे रखे वो इस लायक भी नहीं है कि केस चलाया जा सके। और डिस्चार्ज इज ऑन अ हायर फुटिंग देन एक्विटल, मतलब उसके लिए तो पूरा केस सुना जाएगा, उसके बाद डिसाइड होगा। इसमें तो कोर्ट ने ये पाया कि प्रमाण ही इतने झूठे थे, इसने कहा उसने कहा, बस इस तरह के प्रमाण थे और उनको डिस्चार्ज कर दिया गया। तो उनका एक दुष्प्रचार फेल हो गया भाजपा का, तो वो अपनी नकारात्मक राजनीति, क्योंकि कंपटीशन थोड़ी कर सकते हैं काम में अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के साथ, दैट इज इम्पॉसिबल। तो क्या करेंगे, बदनाम करने की कोशिश, जैसे आज किया, झूठ इंटरनेट से। आप लोग सब इतने इंटेलिजेंट पत्रकार हैं, ये बहुत जरूरी है, आपकी बहुत बड़ी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है एज 4th पिलर्स ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी कि आप दिखाइए लोगों को किस तरह से इंटरनेट से डाउनलोड करके इतने बड़े बड़े नेता, इतने बड़े बड़े मंत्री ये झूठ प्रचार करते हैं अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के लिए। कंपीट कर लेना काम में।
Last question. Basuji Swaraj in the press conference later said that they never said that the photos that they showed is of the said bungalow.
Oh, great. Then the MP does not agree with what the minister said or possibly did not hear what the minister said in the previous press conference. I mean, it's या तो वो डिसाइड करके नहीं आते, उनको पता नहीं पार्टी लाइन क्या है, और झूठ के पैर तो होते नहीं, टिकता का एक पीसी में भी नहीं टिका, आप बता रही हैं।
एक सवाल है राघव चड्ढा को लेके, उनके वीडियो वायरल हो रहा है कि बीजेपी पार्टी बहुत भ्रष्ट है, कभी नहीं। उसके बाद राघव चड्ढा आज वहां पहुंच गए हैं, तो उसके लिए आप क्या कहते हो? ईडी सीबीआई का ये डर है, क्या है?
देखिए, राघव चड्ढा जी के ऊपर भी डीजीपी में एक इरेगुलरिटीज का केस चल रहा था, एवरीवन इज अवेयर अबाउट इट। स्वाति मालीवाल जी के ऊपर भी चल रहा था, वो आज सुबह मैंने सुना डिनाई कर रही है, कोई केस ही नहीं था, इट्स ओपन पब्लिक नॉलेज, कोई भी देख सकता है। अशोक मित्तल जी के ऊपर भी हम सब ने देखा कैसे 2 दिन पहले ही ईडी की रेड हुई थी और किस दबाव में उनको लाया गया। तो ये बीजेपी की पुरानी मोडस ऑपरेंडी है, उनका ईडी सीबीआई का दुरुपयोग करना। अगर ठीक जगह पर ईडी सीबीआई का यूज किया होता तो शायद हमारे देश में मोदी जी के आने के बाद करप्शन कम हुआ होता, पर वो बढ़ गया है।
फोटोज का तो आपने खंडन किया, लेकिन क्या लोधी स्ट्रीट में ऐसा कोई बंगला है जिसपे?
मुझे लगता है कि अरविंद केजरीवाल इज अ वेरी ट्रांसपेरेंट मैन। आई थिंक 2-3 दिन पहले ही उन्होंने ट्वीट करके खुद जानकारी दी थी कि भाजपा ने, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने एज ए नेशनल कन्वीनर उनको जो घर अलॉट किया है वहां वो शिफ्ट हो चुके हैं। वो उन्होंने ट्वीट ही किया था खुद ही। थैंक यू।
Viewers, that was Priyanka Kakkar, AAP's a national spokesperson, who has refuted all claims of Sheesh Mahal 2.0 that were floated by the BJP. In fact, she also held a photograph, a culmination of photographs, in fact, saying that BJP has taken all photographs of the alleged Kejriwal residence, the luxurious residence, off of the internet and circulated it, calling it a fake remark. Viewers, now in fact, keeping on to this story, Raghav Chadha has now said that the Constitution gives them the right, if they feel that their party is going the wrong way, then nobody can stop the MPs from leaving the party. Now, in fact, he also goes on to say that 7 MPs have exited the Aam Aadmi Party from the Rajya Sabha. Remember, that makes up for about 70% of all Aam Aadmi Party representation and members on the Rajya Sabha's floor. So 7 out of 10 MPs have now defected from the Aam Aadmi Party. They've exited and they've announced that they are going to join the BJP. Raghav Chadha has said it. Swati Maliwal has said it. Now, Raghav Chadha says that the constitution gives these members of the parliament their right to defect from a party when they feel that the party has lost its ideology, its values and its principles, exactly what he's been saying since the beginning. Now remember, he says that anti-defection and disqualification cannot be applied on the 7 out of 10 members because that is 2/3 of the majority that is agreed to merge with the BJP. Listen in to Raghav Chadha.
देशभक्त आदमी जिसने आम आदमी पार्टी को अपने खून पसीने से सींचा और बड़ी उम्मीदों के साथ आम आदमी पार्टी से जुड़ा था, आज हर वो व्यक्ति या तो आम आदमी पार्टी को छोड़ चुका है या छोड़ रहा है। क्योंकि हर ईमानदार मेहनतकश आदमी को ये लगता है कि अब आम आदमी पार्टी में काम करने की जगह नहीं बची और आम आदमी पार्टी अब एक ऐसे गलत रास्ते पर चल रही है जिससे कोई अपना नाता नहीं रखना चाहता। इसी के चलते एक एक करके तमाम लीडर्स ने आम आदमी पार्टी को छोड़ दिया। बाबा साहब अंबेडकर द्वारा बनाया गया संविधान ये ताकत देता है, ये प्रावधान देता है चुने हुए सांसदों को कि यदि उन्हें ऐसा महसूस हो कि उनकी पार्टी करप्ट और कॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड हाथों में चली गई है या पार्टी गलत रास्ते पर जा रही है, तो वे अपनी पार्टी को त्याग सकते हैं, अधिकांश सांसद अगर चाहें, और उसके लिए 2/3 या 2/3 से ज्यादा की लिमिट तय करी गई। इस केस में 1 नहीं, 2 नहीं, 3 नहीं, 4 नहीं, 5 नहीं, 6 नहीं, 7 सांसद मिलकर आम आदमी पार्टी को त्याग रहे हैं, छोड़ रहे हैं, क्योंकि वे मानते हैं कि आम आदमी पार्टी करप्ट और कॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड हाथों में जा चुकी है। और जो लोग ये कह रहे हैं, खासतौर पे आम आदमी पार्टी के नेता, कि डर कर चले गए आम आदमी पार्टी छोड़कर, हम डर कर नहीं, डिसअपॉइंटेड महसूस कर कर गए आम आदमी पार्टी से। हम डर कर नहीं, डिसएंचेंटेड फील कर कर गए आम आदमी पार्टी से। हम डर कर नहीं, डिसगस्टेड फील कर कर गए आम आदमी पार्टी से। और दूसरी महत्वपूर्ण बात, आज दिल्ली में शीश महल पार्ट 2 बनकर आया है, कंस्ट्रक्ट हुआ है, और उसकी कुछ तस्वीरें सामने आई हैं। जब पहला वाला शीश महल बना था, उसकी वजह से मेरा यह मानना है कि आम आदमी पार्टी की छवि तार-तार हुई थी। और अगर सबसे बड़ा कारण दिल्ली चुनाव हारने का कुछ था, आम आदमी पार्टी की हार का जो मुख्य कारण था, उसमें वो शीश महल था। लेकिन आज दिल्ली चुनाव समाप्त हुए 1 साल भी अभी पूरा नहीं हुआ और शीश महल पार्ट 2 बन के सामने आ गया और बड़ी आलीशान बना है, उसकी तस्वीरें कुछ सामने आई हैं। तो मुझे लगता है आम आदमी पार्टी को इन तमाम विषयों पर चिंतन करना चाहिए। और न जाने अब कैसे आम आदमी पार्टी के अभी भी जो बचे कुचे भले कार्यकर्ता रह गए हैं, वो कैसे जवाब देंगे गली मोहल्लों में लोगों से। जब लोग शीश महल के बारे में उनसे सवाल पूछेंगे, तो आम आदमी पार्टी को उस पर आत्मचिंतन करना चाहिए और उस पर विचार करना चाहिए।
In fact, we're also being joined by my colleague Saurav to get us more updates on the matter. Now, Saurav, Raghav Chadha has rigged up the constitution. He says that anti-defection law, disqualification, everything that the Aam Aadmi Party has been campaigning against the 7 who've decided to quit the party is not going to hold its ground, since 2/3 members, at least 70% of all their representation in Rajya Sabha, has decided to exit and merge with the BJP. Speak to us about Raghav Chadha's recent remarks. He also says that he did not quit the party out of fear, but out of disappointment. Saurav.
Yes, Raghav Chadha in the recent statement said that he is feeling disgust with the party. He said that who has given all the blood to build this party,
stick from its principles and values. And the other thing which the Raghav Chadha has said that the B.R. Ambedkar Constitution has given them the power that they can join any other party if they are feeling disgust or if they are feeling that the party is going the wrong way. And that is why he said that according to the Constitution, 2/3 of the MPs can merge with any other party if they think that the party has changed its ideology and is going to the wrong path. The Raghav Chadha has also claimed that every person who has been working day and night tirelessly for the Aam Aadmi Party, and now they are leaving because that party is no more a corruption-free party. These are the statements which were given by Raghav Chadha in the recent interview, and this is a big development on the ground as the Aam Aadmi Party is claiming that the Raghav Chadha is a traitor, and he has betrayed the Aam Aadmi Party and he has joined the BJP because he was getting threats like for the ED raid and etc. This is a major developing story which we are following since morning. Back to you.
Right, Saurav, thanks very much for getting us those details. In fact, Raghav Chadha has in fact rigged up the constitution where he says that the constitution gives them the right to defect. Now we were shifting focus to another breaking development that we're getting at this hour. Now the Finance Minister for Punjab, Harpal Chima, has spoken to Republic TV. He alleges that by putting pressure on the BJP and the CBI, the BJP is trying to break the AAP's morale, especially in Punjab. Now he says that MPs who've shifted could not bear the pressure as they were cowards and traitors. He concludes by saying that people of Punjab will give a befitting reply in the coming Vidhan Sabha elections scheduled just next year. Listen in.
देखिए, कुछ समय था जब वो बोलते थे कि बीजेपी जो है भारतीय जनता पार्टी वो गुंडों की पार्टी है।